Heroes, villains, a tale as old as time, and the never-ending battle to protect truth and justice from those who thrive on chaos and bloodshed. Come with us as we peel back the mask on your beloved Crusaders of Light and dive deep into the dark and twisted abyss of your most feared and hated harbingers of doom. Follow your host, Power Maximus, and everyone's favorite demigod, Lord Triage, as they take a trip down the rabbit hole that is everything super. So, are you a hero or a villain? Either way, find that super suit and suit up for the Super Breakdown.
Hello there.
General Kenobi. What is up? What is up? We are back for another week. Another week. Well over 50 episodes by this point. We're probably at 55, nearing to our 60 episode mark. This is the Super Breakdown. I'm Power Maximus, and we got a special guest. He is our resident Star Wars expert, along with Darth Triage, the one, the only Darth Legacy. Thank you
What
for
up?
joining
What
us,
up,
man. I
everybody?
appreciate it.
No
So,
problem. I highly
if
appreciate
you
it. Thank you.
no, of course, of course. If you haven't been paying attention, it is May the Force be with you. It is Star Wars month, so all month we are going over all Star Wars characters and everything Star Wars. This week we are diving into the master himself, General Obi-Wan Kenobi. If I had a soundboard, I'll be putting in the applause and screams right here. Ah, yeah, General Kenobi. All right, so this character, he is one of the most pinnacle parts of the Star Wars storyline, at least within the movies. Um, it's such an important part, especially when so his connection to his connection to the Force, his connection to Anakin, who we all know eventually does become Darth Vader, one of the most feared Sith lords. Um, I mean, what do you call him a Sith lord? Because technically he was still an apprentice all the way up until he died.
No, I just still say Sith Lord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We got to put some respect on his name. But yeah. So Obi-Wan Kenobi, General Kenobi, LT, Darth Triage. Let's break it down. What's the origins on this force wielding or wizard, as other people like to call them. What's his origin?
So, Force sensitive from a young age, young Kenobi was taken from his home planet Stujon, and sent to the Jedi Temple to train on Coruscant. Now, from what I understand, is that it was a little bit of time before he actually wound up with his eventual master Qui-Gon Jinn, who actually humbled him and settled him down quite a bit, excuse me. Because it's his time with Qui-Gon that basically shapes his perspective of the galaxy, and which eventually puts him on the path that we all know ends with, well, exile.
All right. Now, Obi-Wan comes from a long line of highly proficient and highly skilled and powerful Jedi. His master Qui-Gon, but then Qui-Gon was also the apprentice of Count Dooku, who was the apprentice of Master Yoda. And then no one really truly knows who Yoda's master was, but Yoda being one of the strongest Force users that we've seen within the live action Star Wars series, I can only imagine that his master was about 10 times stronger.
Right?
Now, this the lineage of from master to Padawan and apprentice going all the way down, within that line is absolutely crazy. Because again, we'll start off with Yoda to Dooku, Dooku to Qui-Gon, Qui-Gon to Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan to Anakin, Anakin to Ahsoka and Starkiller.
Ahsoka to
Yes.
Sabine.
Yeah.
And Ahsoka to Sabine.
And you're gonna see a lot of the same personal struggles and personal beliefs throughout all these characters, really.
All right. How so?
Well, like Qui-Gon to Obi-Wan, you know, what they believe, I would say, is similar. You know, what they fight for is similar. Master to apprentice, definitely, I would say.
And pattern that I can definitely see is the master always getting a Padawan that, well, at least this lineage of masters always getting a Padawan that is kind of reckless, hot-headed. They're very stubborn and very, but very strong-willed, and every one of them very, very, very strong within the Force. So that's a pattern that I've definitely picked up on.
Yeah.
Well,
Again, Anakin with M count is absolutely ridiculous.
Yes. Well, one of the things that was always interesting about the legacy of their part of the Jedi Order is each master did influence the student, I think, for the better and also for the worse. So, like with Dooku, you saw it like you saw it like in his values and the way they changed towards the end of his time during the Jedi Order, and then also like with his construction of his lightsaber. So like one of the things that is very interesting is that whenever a Jedi creates a new lightsaber, it's supposed to mimic or be a replica of their masters. Now, Dooku's is not like Yoda's. So when Dooku built his, he specifically built it with the curved hilt to complement his style, which was Form 2, which was Makashu, which is specifically meant for dueling. Now, as we know, the Jedi were capable warriors and fighters, but duelists they were not. And this is something that Yoda actually frowned upon. And then when Dooku took Qui-Gon and trained him, he saw their relationship solely as master and apprentice. Which is one of the reasons why when Qui-Gon trained Obi-Wan,
I definitely feel there's definitely a stark conflict.
No. Like one of the reasons why when Qui-Gon trained Obi-Wan,
I was just about.
No, go ahead.
My bad. Go ahead. There seems to be a little bit of a delay now. Go ahead. Go for it.
No, it's like one of the things that happened between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan is that when Qui-Gon took Obi-Wan as his apprentice, he wanted to make sure that he had a firm bond with him, and he wanted to make sure that that the relationship was more firm opposed to it being he wanted their relationship to be more solid opposed to it being more firm like it was with his master. And another thing is that Obi-Wan Kenobi is not Qui-Gon's first apprentice. Qui-Gon's first apprentice actually falls to the dark side.
Hold
on one sec. Repeat that. You were cutting out.
Qui-Gon's first apprentice falls to the dark side. It was this cat named Xanatos. And how Obi-Wan Kenobi actually helps Qui-Gon stop Xanatos.
Xanatos?
Yes.
And that probably strengthened their relationship. I mean, as far as a master and apprentice.
Interesting. Yeah, I definitely agree, Legacy. That's definitely something that would definitely strengthen their bond, um, even deeper. Because it makes sense because a Jedi's an apprentice's loyalty is to their master. So the stronger their bond with their master, the more likely they're going to fall into their master's values. Where whether it be following the light side so strongly, and I feel like that's definitely what happened between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. That's why Obi-Wan tried to do the same with Anakin and have that bond with him. But I feel like Obi-Wan just wasn't. I personally I feel like Obi-Wan just wasn't ready. He wasn't ready that to be a master yet. A knight, absolutely. But I don't think he was ready for his own apprentice. Again, as clearly all this has all this is definitely was kind of like hastened due to
Well,
Qui-Gon's untimely death.
yes, yeah,
Well,
that is, yeah. He was young when he got Anakin.
let's say mid-20s.
Yeah, because he was still an apprentice. He still had his braid. He was still technically an apprentice. Like he pretty much skipped being a Jedi Knight and went straight to being a master.
Yes, that is actually true.
But
Because
there's there's a reason behind
somebody
that.
who had been
Yeah,
with
there.
Anakin.
The reason behind that is because his defeating of Darth Maul, the council felt was more
Correct.
important or more trying than any trial that he could have
What was that,
gone
Legacy?
through.
Correct. Yeah, that is. They do grant him the rank of master because of that.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
because he was the
I
first
mean,
Jedi to defeat a Sith in the Millennium.
Yeah, that was like a major deal. That's very true.
well,
Interesting
honestly,
enough,
I personally, oh, go ahead.
one of the things that I thought was also very interesting was going back to Dooku is that Qui-Gon's death at the hands of Maul is actually what pushes Dooku to the dark side.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Really?
So it gets explained that Dooku had knew all about Tyrannus and what Tyrannus was doing during the events of the Phantom Menace. Because when he finds out that Qui-Gon died, he was distraught behind it, and that's when they realized that he
Wait,
did
you mean
care more.
wait, you mean Dooku knew about Maul? Because Dooku
Yes,
is Tyrannus.
excuse me. You're right. Excuse me. When Maul kills Qui-Gon, Dooku finds out about it and goes to Sidious like, "Yo, what's up?" Maul wasn't supposed to kill Qui-Gon, and Sidious is like, "Well, I lost an apprentice, so did you." He's like, "We can call it." He's like, "Let's call it square." He's like, "Nah, my nigga, that's not how that works."
Mm. Mm.
Like he definitely felt some kind of way about the whole situation, but it was Qui-Gon's death which pushed him over the edge because Qui-Gon told the council, like, I believe I encountered a Sith Lord, and their response is, "Oh, the Sith are extinct. They haven't been around a millennium. That's completely impossible." He's like, that's when he realized that they were so blinded by their arrogance that all this shit could happen and no one's noticed it. And then with Palpatine coming to power the way he is, he's like, "Oh yeah, they're done for. I don't be a part of this no more. I might as well be on the side that's going to win."
And you can really see that in his attitude. I feel like as a character, like his arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
No,
And then if you
absolutely.
watch
Because I just got past the part. Before the 10-year time skip, because I'm currently reading Darth Bane's storyline. I'm on Rule of Two. And in Rule of Two, there's a whole scene where Jedi John, that's how you pronounce it. When before he becomes or gets promoted to Jedi Knight, he runs into two mercenaries that Bane had just pretty much slaughtered the rest of the pack. And they're telling John, "Hey, yeah, there's a Sith Lord that's still alive." So he takes that to Master Valentine, and the same thing. Matt, like, what are you talking about? Nope, they're all dead. They're all gone. Don't worry about it. All Avenger Master General Hoth, but no one wanted to believe that the Sith were still alive because of the amount. And mind you, this also takes place 1,000 years before Episode 1. Yes, so for 1,000 years, no one wanted to believe that the Sith were still around because of the massive carnage that the last Sith war caused.
Mm-hmm.
So, I feel like the Jedi ended up getting very complacent with the peace that Chancellor Velrum had instilled with the Rasan reformations. So
Peace is a
for
lie.
1,000 years, they all got complacent. Yeah, peace is a lie. It only lasts for so long, because there cannot be darkness without light, and
Yes.
it cannot be light without darkness. The force is
And
a balance.
I think that that natural balance, I think over time the Jedi naturally, as the Sith, in the Sith, in the natural state of the Sith, they operate in cunning and deceiving and in the shadows where you don't see it coming. That's how a true Sith is supposed to operate. And that's why they were so easily. That's why the Jedi were so easily defeated during Order 66, because they were so blind. They did not see it coming. And it was done with cunning and sneakiness. And I think that those two things, the arrogance of the Jedi and the cunning of the Sith, is over millennia what keeps the balance.
Yeah, yeah. Hell, even Maul said it himself when he realized it. He was like, he told Ahsoka, like, "Yo, the war is over." She's like, "No, it's not. This can still, we can still turn this around." He was like, no, this is over. You just don't realize it's over. Like, this shit was X amount of years in the planning, and it just came to fruition.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And from what I'm reading, it's been 1,000 years and the planning. This is something that Bane started planning, and it just led all the way down a millennia later to Sidious, putting pretty much pressing the start button. And they did a lot of damage. Not only did they scatter and pretty much eradicate the Jedi Order, we see Jedi that are so strong-willed within the Force and believe so strongly within the light side of the Force, like Obi-Wan. You see their spirit and their hope become like get crushed, completely obliterated. And then going forward through all the way from Revenge of the Sith, when we see Order 66 get pretty much kick started, all the way to where we see him in Kenobi, which is like what 10 years later
Yes.
after Revenge of the Sith. Been about 10 years. We see him. Kenobi is completely like drained, and it pretty much and his
Different
connection
man.
to the Force is yeah. He's completely different. His connection to the Force has been completely like broken because he no longer really believed in it. And even then we see him struggle to even use the Force to just lift small objects and shit like that. He had to ignite his lightsaber in God knows how long. We see him throughout episode 1, 2, and 3. Well, 1 and 2, and then the beginning of 3, we see him just we got this, just the hope just flowing through him, And it's such a stark contrast to where we see him in Kenobi. Such a very stark contrast.
Yes.
Yes.
But I feel like Kenobi was written very, very, very well. Kenobi was written very well.
Well, it's also one of those things like where Kenobi's life has also been shaped a lot by loss. So one of the first major losses he suffers is Qui-Gon Jinn when Qui-Gon gets killed by Darth Maul. And here's another little fun fact is that Qui-Gon's death actually made Obi-Wan switch his fighting style.
Oh yeah, that's
Yes,
true.
yes. Yeah, we do see it when he does when he has his final face off with Maul in Clone Wars. He right off the rip and wants to go for revenge, so he's in his regular normal stance. But then he essentially allows that piece to finally roll over him, and within that moment he switches his stance to Qui-Gon's stance, to Qui-Gon's form.
Yes. So
Um,
when he baited him, yes.
mhm.
It's explained that Qui-Gon fought in Form 4 Ataru, and so did Obi-Wan initially. But after Qui-Gon's death, Obi-Wan realized that one of the major flaws in Ataru is that it leaves the upper chest vulnerable to attack. And that's how Qui-Gon died. He was ran through by Maul through the chest. So Obi-Wan switched his fighting style to Form 3, which is Surisu, which is the defensive style.
Yes.
He became so fluent in Surisu by the time Revenge of the Sith rolled around, he was a master of it and one of the most proficient masters in the galaxy of it.
Yeah, he was the master of Surisu at at the whole Jedi Temple, everywhere.
Okay. So that change happened directly and as a direct
that style is when
what
you
I'm
see
looking
him step back with his lightsaber in his backhand with his 2 fingers forward.
Yes.
That stance.
Ah,
That's when you start seeing that
okay.
stance.
And then let's not forget about what happened to Lady Kreese on Mandalore. Now,
Yes.
one of the things I always thought that was interesting that never was really dealt with properly, as far just my hot take, just my opinion, is that Obi-Wan Kenobi knew full well that Anakin Skywalker and Padme had affection for each other, and he never once compared his relationship with her to his relationship with Lady Kreese. Now, the ruler of Mandalore and Obi-Wan Kenobi had spent time together when he was a teenager because Qui-Gon had spent a whole year there dealing with upheaval on Mandalore. So he actually wound up falling in love with, I want to say her name was Sabine. Not Sabine.
No, not Sabine.
Sabine's Ahsoka's apprentice. I could not think of her name. It's driving me nuts. I'll think of it. So.
Oh, Sistine. It was Duchess Sistine.
Copy. So he completely had fell in love with her, and if she had asked him, he'd have walked away from the order. And then Maul learns about this and kills her to punish him.
Maul's such a dick.
He is. He really is. You know, I'm not gonna lie. Throughout the whole beginning of this month, I've reached out to a lot of the actors, and unfortunately, I didn't hear back. I reached out to Ray Park as well. The actor who played Darth Maul. Because we definitely will be talking about Maul this month as well. Probably gonna have our next 2 episodes are probably gonna be like double, maybe even quadruple episodes, talking about between 2 to 4 characters as well. So it's gonna get the rest of this month crazy because there is so much to talk about when it comes to like the Star Wars universe characters with exactly Maul. This Maul alone, like each one of these characters has such a strong and in-depth history and character build
See,
development.
it's like
It's crazy.
all I would have to say for someone to understand what you're actually talking about is say if you truly understood how Maul was raised and trained and all that, you'd know why he is the way he is.
Yeah, and that's something I'm definitely looking into because apparently there's a whole book for Maul. And I think it's like what two books for Maul.
Um, yeah, well,
I
that
believe
I know
so.
of. Yes, that I know of. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so I'm definitely interested in getting into those as well, and honestly, really building my Star Wars lore because there's been so much Star Wars stuff that's going to be dropping soon. There's a new movie that's going to be coming out. Don't really know what's going on with that. Not really
I
too
saw the
excited about
trailer.
the
Did you
producer.
see the
Oh,
trailer
that's
for The
for
Acolyte?
Acolyte.
I'm
Oh yeah,
annoyed.
the Acolyte. I'm
Yeah, I don't
interested,
know.
but I'm interested, but I just want to see where it fits in with the lore thus far and see if it because there's a strong possibility that it might end up changing some lore because that's big what they've been doing lately. They've been doing a lot of changing of the lore, and I just don't like. I don't like that. I'm like,
Well,
you guys got something good. You got something. You guys already have a blueprint to follow, and this is my biggest problem with Disney. They have a blueprint for something, they'll follow it a little bit and then they start going off the fucking rails, and that's how we end up with shit like the last three Star Wars movies. Like I'm really afraid if they don't do this, if they don't go back, they have 25,000 years of lore that they can play with on the big screen, and yet they choose to continue with this fucking Skywalker versus Palpatine shit. Like it should have ended. Like the whole Skywalker versus Palpatine should have ended with when Vader died. And what's the title of that movie? That was 7, right? No,
Uh, which
no,
one?
no, no,
The
no.
Force Awakens?
6. No. I'm talking about. I'm thinking of 6. So, what was it? Episode 4, 5, 6. It should have ended in episode 6. They should have did a whole new kind of story when they went to go through episodes 7, 8, and 9. This whole
Well,
Ray
well, George
Palpatine.
Lucas.
Don't. Go ahead.
Well, George Lucas specifically did not make the first, second, and third movies before the 6, 7,
Yeah,
because of the technology. But that's why
yeah.
I don't know why, but that was his reason.
But you can definitely say if you compare the prequels, what the hell? The prequel, if you compare the prequels to the last 3, so when the prequels came out, people really, really shitted on the prequels. Hard body, like very, 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 very hard.
I think,
Very, very hard.
yeah, but and I think the reason George Lucas did that though is because he wanted to pay more. He felt like the beginning of the story,
well,
like was I don't know. He wanted it to be major, like I don't know. Go ahead.
I think the issues with the prequels is that everyone wanted to see this quote unquote fall from grace. Everybody wanted to see the hero fail. The The $1,000,000 question is, how did Anakin Skywalker, this beloved Jedi Knight, go to being the guy in the suit? I mean, the freed slave rose up to enslave the entire galaxy. And it's like, a lot of people initially didn't care for Hayden Christensen's portrayal of Anakin Skywalker also. Hayden, I'm a big fan. I think you did a great fucking job. I take my hat off to you. Because people felt like all Anakin Skywalker did was whine. But it's like, if you look at some of the shit in hindsight with the stuff they retconned, like the Kenobi show, like he completely beats him in a duel, and then he's still lecturing him about how he's not ready to step up. Like, I can surpass you in force use, I can surpass you in swordsmanship, I can surpass you in skill, and you're still telling me I can just sit at the kids' table.
And so that was Anakin's problem the whole time. They kept telling him he had to sit at the kids' table, by granting him a seat on the council, but then still saying you're not ready to be a master. I'm like, I would have been appalled. I would have been so offended.
But there's actually a reasoning behind that also. So Anakin technically wasn't eligible to do it because there's one major thing that he had never did. In order for you to go from knight to master, you need to train a Jedi Padawan from Padawanhood to knighthood. Ahsoka left the order. So technically he never did that.
And that was why he felt robbed.
That's why later on you see the whole thing where he's like, Ahsoka, where were you when I needed you?
Correct.
Hold on, repeat that. You cut out.
I said that's one of the reasons why, like, when he sees Ahsoka later on, or like when Ahsoka has the visions of him, he's like, where were you when I needed you? You were nowhere to be found. But it's one of those things that she was disillusioned with the order because of her own experiences. Like, she gave her life to this group of people to serve and fight in this great war and like do all this extra shit. And then they were like the first hint of quote unquote fuckery. Oh yeah, she needs to be executed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. So they fucked him really, really hard on that. But I feel like they're also I personally feel like they were making an ill attempt to kind of tame his level of arrogance that he had, because I definitely will say Anakin was definitely, I don't even know if you can call it arrogance, because it's like, if you have the skill to
it was
like, I don't know. Personally, I just feel like if you got this skill to back up your words, you know what I mean? You can't really call it cockiness or arrogance, because it's like, nah, like I'm good. I'm great at everything that y'all thrown at me. And I feel like what they could have done was show just like a little bit of like, oh yeah, dope, bro, you're doing great. But I feel like at every turn when he was like, hey, look what I did, they're like, could be better. I just feel like after a while of hearing you can do better when you're literally doing your absolute best, when you literally nail that, when you literally hammer the nail on the head every time, the first time, and you still get told that you're not doing it right, after a while you're going to start thinking like, oh, all right, clearly the problem can't be with me, because I've been absolutely crushing every task that you put in front of me. So what's the problem? Do you just got a problem with me, myself, personally? I feel like that's how he started. He started taking it like personal. He started feeling like, all right, so they must have a personal vendetta against me, because I'm doing everything that they have.
But the wild part is his actions and the end result justified everyone's suspicion of him. So here's my thing with that. It's like Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader are often looked as being two completely different people. And it's like in the canon and the lore, even in the books and in the movies and the TV series, like there's whole times like where you got to look at them like it's almost like him having a split personality.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Oh, we
wild
see
part
that
is
big time in Kenobi at the end.
it very true, and also in the books. So the one thing that's mentioned in the novelization of Revenge of the Sith was Dooku's final thoughts, like after Anakin defeated him. So the second Dooku got disarmed, he thought Palpatine was going to step in and save him, and he didn't. Because Palpatine was like, "Oh, good, 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 kill him now." And Dooku's like, what you mean, kill him? Kill who, nigga? Me? I don't, nah. And in his final moments, Dooku realized that he had been a pawn the entire time. And then witnessing Anakin and the way the war changed him, he realized that Anakin was basically already a Sith Lord. Just from the way he fought, the way he carried himself. Look at the way he dressed. He didn't dress like a traditional Jedi.
Yeah,
Everything
he
in
wore
the
all black all the time.
everything in the war was literally designed to push him more towards the dark side, and even like the way he fought in combat. Because Dooku mocks him like, "Oh, I sense great fear in you. I sense fear. I sense anger. I sense hate, but you don't use them." And the next thing you know, he channels his hate into his fucking swordplay and cuts his hands off. Like, yeah, nigga, talk that shit
Mm-hmm.
now.
I'll definitely say Anakin is one of the best. I feel like saber wise, he was one of the best that that generation of Jedi had pretty much spawned.
He was he was a master of Jinso. He was a master of Form 5, which was the offensive style.
And
This is one of the reasons why Obi-Wan
yeah, which was
Kenobi and
way
him
more
have the
aggressive.
duel the way they do. Yes, it was the more
Yeah,
aggressive style of
so
lightsaber combat. Yes.
yeah, and the most aggressive of them was Windows, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, the Vapad.
His was like yeah, Vetpad. Yep. Um I really wish we would have got more Mace Windu. Like I'm
My
sick
whole
and
thing
tired of these motherfucking sick on this motherfucking planet.
my whole thing with that is that I would actually love to see a series about a young Mace Windu, or Mace had survived and he trained an apprentice. Like there's a lot of stuff that was supposed to happen that should have happened that didn't. And it's like how we're the ones that suffer for it. Just like how you were talking about people not liking the prequels. I think do we all agree that the sequels, I'm talking 7, 8, and 9, are fucking terrible. We do, right?
Yes.
Like we were supposed to get a whole thing that was supposed to show Luke.
I'm most definitely agree.
We were supposed to get a
I'm
whole
not even
series.
like a hardcore. I'm not even like a hardcore. Yeah, I'm not even a hardcore Star Wars fan, and even I feel like the last three were absolute shit compared to the prequels.
I just think it was all an agenda push. That was my opinion.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
then
I
with
definitely I definitely agree.
and I don't I'm not against you changing a character off screen because the passing of years, the passing of time, it changes people. But the guy who refused to strike down his father in anger can't be like, "Oh, I'm afraid of my nephew," and try to kill him in his sleep.
you know, you're absolutely right. You're 100% right. It just don't make no type of sense because Luke was never like afraid of his he was never truly afraid of his father because he still even though Vader was filled with so much of
No,
the dark side,
yeah,
I personally feel like he never fully Go for it. Go for it, Legacy.
No, well, no, I was gonna say Luke was not afraid of his father; he was afraid of himself.
Yes, that's why.
Exactly.
In
Saw
episode,
how much darkness his father had in.
well, but that's also reflected on the episode 5 where he's on Dagobah and Yoda's like, "Oh, you're not gonna need your lightsaber." He goes, "You know what's in there?" He's like, "Only what you take with you." And then like he sees the vision of him fighting Vader, and the Vader's mask explodes, and it's Luke Skywalker. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, he's afraid of his own darkness, yes. But the issue also is the fact that like Luke Skywalker, after understanding everything that happened, he forgave him. So like whenever
yes,
he sees him through the Force, he saw Anakin Skywalker. It's said in the lore that like Leia could never forgive him, and Leia only saw Vader.
that's the reason he was saved.
He's redeemed through his son.
Yeah.
So now my question for you two, my question to you two Star Wars experts here. Now there is a comic that strictly follows Vader. Is that comic still canon, or was it pretty much completely retconned, where he ends up finding that air quote Padme had lived for some years and some time after her supposed death, and that's what helps the pretty much the light side of him stay, like kind of pretty much stay. I know this episode's supposed to be about Kenobi, but that's just something I've always wondered if that comic is still canon or not.
There is a whole Vader series, yes, but I believe it's one of those things like where he was trying to bring her back through the Force.
Yes, that's what I heard.
And it was one of those things like where because he was using the dark side, it couldn't. That's like one of the questions they always asked was why couldn't he heal his own body? The whole story was supposedly because he was using the dark side. It doesn't allow you to heal your own body.
Well, in Plagueis, you learn that one cannot heal themselves through metachlorians, only others. But I don't know if that's 100% true.
I mean, it would make sense.
Okay.
Because another one of the fan theories that people always talked about was you played The Force Unleashed, correct?
Oh, correct.
So in the second one, you find out that the new Star Killer is supposedly a clone of the original one. And he tells them that, oh, those are memories of a dead man. They mean nothing to you. You were supposed to be my weapon. You're my apprentice. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
So, now, whenever people got asked, it was quote unquote impossible to clone Jedi. The reason that people theorized is the reason why he cloned Star Killer is because Vader was trying to clone himself. Because there is a thing through the Force where you can project your consciousness into someone else's body.
Yes, that is very correct.
So technically, all he'd have to do was clone a new body for himself, then project his consciousness into the new body.
Yes, but could that be permanent?
If the original one is destroyed.
Okay. I mean that makes sense. I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, it gets a little hazy for me because, like, if the original body of the person who was using the Force to project their consciousness into another, Force-able, body, and if that original user's body is destroyed, who's using the Force at that point to project that consciousness? It's just something that kind of like it's like an override. Like it kind of like overwrites the the body's the subject's body or a subject's mind, that it's like, all right, you are now 100% this person now, or it does the original force users still have to continue to use the force to project their consciousness?
Okay. So I hear what you're saying. So I think it's one of those things like where once the soul was inside the force soul was inside the body, it was inside the body. And even then, Anakin Skywalker out of all people could have figured a way to do that. So
Yes. Yeah.
like it's explained like if you watch Smallville
Yeah,
that there was a squadron of clones that got cloned from Kandor's greatest warriors, and one of the clones was a Major Zod. That Zod winds up being sent to the Phantom Zone, and then who does that Zod meet but the Phantom of the original General Zod, who repossesses his body? So he had the knowledge of both lives now.
Interesting.
So I think it's one of those things where if Anakin was technically cloning his own body, I don't think it would have mattered because worst case scenario, he'd have just had all the same information. It's just that
interesting.
that new Anakin would have had the drive to do the shit that he was going to do at the end of Revenge of the Sith. The first thing he probably would have did was kill Palpatine, because the second he pledged his allegiance to him, he was already planning to betray him.
Yeah, that's the whole. Yeah. Anakin wanted to rule the galaxy.
Yes.
And that definitely makes sense. Definitely to me that definitely makes sense.
Here's a little fun fan theory. I heard this. I heard as Palpatine was arriving on, I believe the planet's called Mustafar, the lava planet.
Mustafar.
Oh, yeah.
Or yes, Mustafar. Apologize. Anakin dies all burned up as Palpatine is walking up to him. Palpatine brings him back to life. I read that somewhere. Don't know if that was made up. Probably completely made up. But I think it's kind of funny to think about.
Oh, well, fan theory that I kind of just made up offhand. What if Palpatine decided to project his mind, his mind into a younger body, which is what fueled a lot of what Anakin had. But Anakin being as strong-willed as he is, that's where we end up seeing the end. Once Palpatine is air quotes and sadly air quotes is killed, we end up seeing that kind of spell be broken, because we read that a lot of Sith stuff, like you really can take you can really, if you were to relate it to real world stuff, you can take a look at it as the supernatural work of like witchcraft and stuff like that. Especially what I've been reading, they refer to them as Sith spells and Sith rituals.
Especially
ancient the witch, exactly,
ancient Sith magic.
The Dathomir. With the witches of Dathomir, we see in Ahsoka and stuff like that.
Well, different species manipulate the Force in different ways. So Dathomirians just call it magic. But like different species can do different things. Well, did anybody play the game?
I see.
Jedi Survivor.
I did, yeah.
Now, personally, yes. I did not. I have not finished Survivor yet. I have not finished Survivor. It's next on my list to finish. Because there was just so many games coming out around the same time that I did not get to finish it.
Gotcha. Very good game.
Um, absolutely. I feel like that's Jedi Order and Jedi Survivor are definitely one of the better Star Wars games that have been released, in my personal opinion, since Force Unleashed 1 and 2. Um, as in, like, gets deep into the lore. You learn a lot. It's not just lightsaber fights and shooting blasters. And I'm referring to Battlefront. Um, Now, when it comes to Kenobi, and again, you can't talk about Vader, you can't talk about Kenobi without talking about Anakin and Vader. Um, when we see Kenobi like these 10 years later, like I said, he's beaten down, his hopes kind of lost, his connection with the Force is pretty much almost obliterated. We see him keeping an eye out on Luke and so on and so forth. And I feel like a big part of that is because he feels like he failed Anakin and he failed his father. He failed Anakin's father.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I'm Luke's father. And within him, since he pretty much can't really make contact with Luke like that, his only other option is when he found Leia. He's like, all right, well, maybe I can redeem myself at least a little bit by helping and protecting Leia and keeping her safe.
I felt that whole thing was completely sexist. I'm just saying.
Oh, how so? Get into that. How so?
Because you see in the episode, like when he's watching him, when he's keeping an eye on Luke, like Luke actually has a lot of like similar behaviors to his father. So like the whole thing, like where he buys him the toy ship and Owen throws it back at him, and he's like, "It's just a toy." No, it's not. He's like, "I know what
Yeah.
you're doing."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh," he's like, "I told you when the time comes, either the boy must be trained." You mean like the way you trained his father?
Oof.
And the wild part was
I felt
is
that.
that you never really see Anakin interact with Owen like that. And it's like he took so much like I'm not sure what the word is, but you could tell like he was pissed at the fact of the way what happened to him. He's like, Anakin's dead because of you. Like, you think I'm gonna let you run off with my nephew and get him killed? Absolutely not.
Which
Like
that makes sense, for an uncle, essentially a father figure, to kind of like have that, that look on things, like, you know what, I'm pretty much asked out of a nephew because of your so-called Jedi Order, and look where you are now. You thought you knew better. You thought that you knew what was right for my nephew, and in turn, now look at the entirety of the galaxy because you thought that you knew better.
Yeah.
So I definitely see where he's coming from, and it's like, listen, my what will he be, great nephew? Yeah, my great nephew is not going to become the same thing as his father. And that's the only catalyst that Owen could have thought of in that moment. Like, look the fuck, what the fuck happened last time I let you come and take one of us? Not happening again. Not happening again.
Yeah. I mean, his feelings of, a protective parent over a child.
Absolutely. And I feel like his anger was most definitely valid. And that anger I feel like it's also what clouded him, and using Jedi terms, that anger is also what clouded him from seeing the new person that Obi-Wan had become.
But
Obi-Wan was still kind of broken, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't think it was necessarily so much what he had become opposed to what had happened. What I mean by that is that I saw this thing years ago, and it was like name 3 things the prequels did well. In the prequels, it always said that 1 was Darth Maul, 2 was the lightsaber combat, 3 was the music. Now, I mention this. I mention this because if you have the music on your playlist, like I do, the
I
duel,
definitely do.
right?
Duel of Fate.
That's the point I'm getting at. The Duel of the Fates is the music that plays when Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon fight Maul.
Yes.
The whole purpose of that song and why it's called the Duel of the Fates is because it's them dueling over the fate of Anakin Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That is literally my favorite song of all the Star Wars soundtrack. Hands down, my favorite song, and just the duality that they show within that entire scene is absolutely phenomenal. And that for that song, for them to use that song for that, like you said, they're dueling for the fate of Anakin's future. Both the light side and the dark side are fighting toe to toe for the for his future.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Like that is literally my absolute 100% favorite song, hands down. So I remember, Triage, you remember back last year when we went to Saratoga Con, right? Where
Correct.
me and Deso got our lightsabers.
Correct.
Literally the Sunday, the day that we came back, right? The day that we came back, dropped you off, dropped Deso off. Me and the fiance were driving through the park to get back to the house, right? I have the lightsaber in the trunk. And as we're driving by the Rose Garden in Central Park here in Schenectady, New York, the fiance points out, "Hey, look, the guy's in the Rose Garden. He has a lightsaber too." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. He must have just came back from TokenCon. Yeah, yeah." And then my fiance is an antagonizer. She definitely is. She looks at me while I'm driving. She's like, "You won't go duel him. You won't go fight him right now." And and so when the wifey challenges you like that, you gotta step up. You gotta step up to the plate. You gotta do it at that point. You can't let her kind of punk you like that. You gotta do it. So I pull up, I pop the trunk, pull the saber out, and I have video of this. I have video of this legacy. I think I showed you the video the other day.
Yes, you did. You did show me this video, and I must say, it is both entertaining and impressive for 2 people who have a lightsaber fight that is not choreographed.
Yeah, yeah. And we actually ended up working on choreography like later on, a few days later, like a few weeks later. But so I pulled the lightsaber out. I walk up the steps. I pulled the whole. I will say this: the only good thing about the last 3 movies was the fucking lightsaber switch between Kylo Ren and Rey. That was fucking sick. I feel like that is a certain way to use the force that we have never seen before, and it was very, very creative.
Well, I will say this.
Where she puts the lightsaber behind her back, uses the
Yes.
force, and is teleporting it.
Force teleportation is something that was talked about, in the ancient lore of the days of, like, the very old Jedi, and different things were talked about and done. And I was actually surprised to hear that and actually see that they put that in the movie. Out of all things to put, out of anything you could choose from, for a Jedi that a Jedi could do anything cool. Oh,
Not force shield, not force speed, not a force scream.
Nope,
Not,
nope. Oh, let's make the lightsaber disappear and reappear in a different place.
Yeah, and that's like I definitely see the redundancy of it all, but I just felt like because again that they're hating this trilogy. They're hating this trilogy. We got to give them something that they can be in awe about. So let's teleport to Saber. So
It was cool.
It was
cool.
It
was.
And so I had it behind my back the same exact way when Kylo reaches behind his back and fucking pulls the lightsaber out. Okay, so I gotta say that Knight of Ren that was standing behind him had to be fucking confused. He had to be like, "What the fuck just happened, dude?" I saw him put his hand behind the back, lightsaber randomly appeared. Remember, so there was like three Knights of Ren in front of him, and there was like one behind him. So the one behind him had to be like, whoa, what the fuck's going on? At that point, I would have been like, all right, guys, y'all got that. I'm out. But so I had to say behind my back, and I walk up the stairs. I call out to him like, yo, and asked him if he had just came back from Saratoga. He's like, no, I bought this for myself a while ago. I'm just out here playing around. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I look back at my fiance. She hits play, and Duel of Fate starts playing in the background. You can't really hear it too well, but I definitely was playing Duel of Fates. Pull the lightsaber out from my back. I ignite it and pull it out from my back. The people that he was chilling with went crazy. They went crazy. And it of course it ended up in an unchoreographed impromptu lightsaber duel where of course I won. Because I definitely feel like my swordsmanship is a step above any other amateur that has never picked up a sword before.
challenge accepted.
I have a sword.
All right. Just let me know.
I have a sword next to me right now.
Hey, I gotta charge mine, but hey, listen, if triage, if your lightsaber's dueling grade, I'm down with it because I don't want to break it. If it's not dueling grade, we'll figure it out later on. But
I apologize. I apologize. I should have stated it's a real sword.
Oh, okay, that's different. All right. Let's take a quick break. Listen to some awesome podcasters that are doing some amazing things, both in the nerd and blurred platforms. Let's hear what they have to say.
Going on, everybody, Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics here, and we'd like to introduce you guys to our show, The Indie Breakdown, a show where we break down your favorite indie comic book characters' power, stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an eventual indie versus matchup. All Indie Breakdown episodes go live first on Spotify and on Patreon, with them eventually showing up on YouTube. So if you guys want to check out The Indie Breakdown and learn more from your favorite indie comic book creators, now's the time to do so. We hope you guys decide to tune in, and remember, until next time, midnight is coming.
Hi, I go by Lady Mandalore, the creator of Roomful of Blurs. Do you have a whiteboard in your room? Do people get a glazed over look in their eye when you start to explain things to them? Well, come join me every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where we can talk comics and get to know some new creators of color, only on YouTube and Twitch.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, Calvin, from the Icarus Podcast, and I just want to say that we got new episodes coming next Saturday and every Saturday after that. So all I will have to say from here is keep enjoying the show. You can check us out, www.icarusmetrocomics.com. Check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and more. See y'all next time.
And we're back. Definitely, ladies and gentlemen, all level 7s. Please, check them out. Midnight Comics with their indie breakdown. Lady Mandalore, Roomful of Blurs, Icarus Comics, and Icarus Podcast. Check them out. on Instagram, YouTube, all social media. They're doing some amazing things. They got some really awesome content for you guys. So Kenobi, we throughout we see his struggle throughout with the Force and his own regrets and you know when we see him finally face off against Vader, it's cinematically absolutely phenomenal. The dialogue absolutely phenomenal. The battle is fucking epic. Especially when we see Obi-Wan finally get back in touch with the Force, and he just uses the Force to pick up like fucking a mountain of rocks and just absolutely pelt Vader with it. Um, it's absolutely phenomenal. So I want to break down what pretty much led him to becoming attuned with the Force again after losing it.
So my thing also with that is that Anakin states during that fight that he was not Obi-Wan's failure, because I think that was always Obi-Wan's biggest thing, is not only did he fail his student, he failed the order, and then he failed to prevent everything that happened. And then if you fast forward, you see when he finds out that Anakin Skywalker actually is still alive and that he's Vader, because the origin of that information varies depending on which version of the media you're watching or reading.
Mhm.
So, because if you watch the Kenobi show, the one Inquisitor, she tells him. But if you read the Revenge of the Sith, the Rise of Darth Vader, he sees it on like a hollow image. And he was like, wait a minute, what did they just call him? Oh, that's the Emperor's new enforcer. That's Lord Vader. And he goes, it can't be. So, like, he was completely flabbergasted that Anakin Skywalker was still alive. Now, I think it's one of those things like where the redeeming quality has always been that he's tried to do right by his children, whether it was keeping an eye on Luke or saving Leia. It's one of those things like where it was the fact that he was redeeming himself is what re-sparked his connection to the Force.
Yes, yeah. I could see
What
that.
are your thoughts, Legacy?
Well, if we're specifically talking about the moment he gets his Force back in Kenobi, the situation itself, a child was falling off of a building, and he basically had no other choice but to try. And I think that he was afraid to try before that.
Why do you think that?
Well, he was afraid this entire time. You know, he was in hiding for at least 10 years, I think it was. So, so he hasn't used the Force, like you said before, in that amount of time, probably. And if you think about Obi-Wan Kenobi, he is absolutely going to do anything he possibly can to save that child, because it's Anakin's child.
Right.
Not just any child.
So
it's Anakin's child.
Would you say he kind of... Yeah. Would you say that he kind of sees them as kind of pretty much his grandchildren, his family now?
I mean, by all intents and purposes, that's technically what they were. Anakin told him on several occasions, "You're the closest thing I have to a father." So,
Yes, that is true. I would say that. I would say that he viewed those children as his own, as his responsibility. Yeah.
And once again, I think the responsibility part is the best way because, like he said during with his fight with Vader, he was like, he says to him, "You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did. I'm not your failure." Like, you know what I mean? You don't this quote unquote weight you have to carry around because you feel like you have to do X, Y, and Z because of your fuck up. That's not what I am.
Yeah.
And then
that's what makes it deeper.
And then the other thing that was really interesting is that another reason why I think he carries the weight of this whole thing, because like Legacy said, the move that Obi-Wan Kenobi uses to disarm him in Revenge of the Sith, that was a forbidden technique. He wasn't supposed to do that. So it is said that in lightsaber combat, as you know, there are 7 traditional forms, and there are several techniques that are used to disarm or stop someone within a strike or 1 or 2 strikes.
Disarm. He definitely disarmed him.
Right?
Them and all.
So, but that's the whole thing, because if you watch, that's not 1 strike he uses; it's 2.
It's a swing. It's a full rotation, and it's 2 swings. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The first swing takes off his arm, and the second swing takes his legs.
That's the whole thing too. The moment he had the high, like everybody jokes around,
with the high ground.
Oh, I have the high ground. Yes, yeah. But you hear Obi-Wan tell Anakin, "Don't try it."
But do you know the reason why he said that to him?
Because that technique, that counter, it was inevitable.
No. That's a small part of it.
Oh, okay.
So the reason why he told him is because going back to the Duel of the Fates, this is how everything comes full circle.
Okay.
When Kenobi was young and got promoted to knighthood, he took Anakin as his Padawan. Anakin was obsessed with the duel that he had with Maul, and he would frequently ask him questions. He'd want to know what happened, what strikes he used, what form he used, how did he transition during the fight. He was obsessed with that duel for years, for years.
Okay.
So now, if you think about it, technically, when Obi-Wan defeated Maul, Maul had the high ground. So he flipped over his head, cut him in half, because Maul thought because he had disarmed him, the duel was over.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
So the second he jumped off that skiff and he was like, "The duel's over, Anakin, I have the high ground." He's like, "Oh, you underestimate my power." He said to him, "Don't try it," because he knew exactly what he was about to do, because it's what he told him he did to Maul.
Oh, so he knew exactly what was coming.
Yes, he was literally so arrogant.
Shit.
He tried to kill Obi-Wan with his own move.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
You're right.
Damn. I never thought about that.
Yes, you're right. You're right. How interesting. I never realized that. Oh, that's very, very curious.
Yes, he wanted to defeat him the same way he defeated Maul. And then because
that was that moment between father and son, like, yo, son, I taught you everything you know. Don't do it. I know what you're about to do. Don't do it, because you know what I'm gonna do. Damn.
And the wild part is, if you watch that duel, I believe it's called Battle of the Heroes is the music that plays during that fight. If you watch that duel, there's over a dozen stalemates because each one of them knows exactly what the other one's going to do. It's literally described.
Yes, that's true.
It is literally described as an unstoppable force, meaning an immovable object.
Yes, I did read that.
So, like, from that perspective, it makes phenomenal sense. And then when he disarms him and cuts off his remaining 3 limbs, and then he sees him years later and he's in the suit, he realized all he did was make him a bigger monster. Like, he literally says to him in Kenobi, he's like, what are you? He's like, I'm what you made me.
Yeah. That's deep. Very deep.
Seriously. And I feel like jumping back real quick, I feel like a part of what also separated Kenobi from the Force was I feel like as much as he was trying to atone, he was also trying to punish himself.
Absolutely.
And then once that battle with with Vader and slash Anakin happens, and Anakin clarifies like, yo, and it takes that weight off of his shoulders. That's why he's able to see Qui-Gon's ghost. Once he's able to take that weight off his shoulders and be like, no, you are free of this burden. This is not you. This is all me. I made the choice. I made the decision. I made that inevitable move.
I was with you, Obi-Wan. You were just not ready to see.
And once he lifted that weight off of him, that's when he's like, you know what, I have to accept the truth. He's a grown man. He was a grown Jedi. He had all the potential. He made his choice at every turn. This played out the way that Anakin made it play out. So, and I feel like that's a part of what allowed him to become more in that moment, be able to open himself back up to the Force. So I feel like he was also more so afraid of what he would do with the Force. He was afraid of. So I feel like his mind was like, you know what? The hate, the anger, all these negative feelings that I have, I need to just not use the Force because he fears what he might do with that Force, with the negative feelings that he has inside, and I feel like that's a part of what cut him off from that as well. I feel like there was multiple things. One, the years of not using the Force because he knew that's what Vader was using and Sidious was using to pinpoint and find Jedi, the remaining Jedi, because that's what Vader was doing. Vader was communing with the Force, and anytime a Jedi used the Force, it would pretty much send out a beacon to him, and that's how he was able to find them. That's how he was able to send his Inquisitors to find them.
Yeah,
and especially because he was living on the planet that Luke was on for all those years. If he used the Force, not only would they end up finding him, but they would end up finding Luke as well.
Yeah, that does make sense.
But there were so many different things that went into his separation from the Force. And again, that's a big thing, from a character that was so strong in the Force and so strong-willed in the Force, to now see him literally the complete opposite, essentially kind of afraid of the Force, afraid of his ability in the Force, because like last time I used the Force, I fucking killed my apprentice, or the use of the Force is what allowed my apprentice to go down the dark side.
Yeah.
So I feel like there was so many things that just was like that pulled him away from the Force, as well as his loss of faith and hope within the Jedi itself.
Let's also not forget the Inquisitors running around, because they retconned that and they made that a thing. because second sister,
Yeah,
her whole thing was
absolutely.
he was basically the white whale, you know. Oh, anybody who brings in Obi-Wan's head, you know, they're gonna get a fat commission.
Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm interested in seeing the rest of her story, how her story plays out as well, because she doesn't die
I think she's gonna.
after Vader runs her through. She doesn't die.
No, she lives. I think she's gonna
Yeah.
become a Jedi.
What do you think, Legacy? Yeah, I think so too, but I also feel like we're not going to be able to see it because they fucked up so much going forward that now they're like, all right, the only thing we can do is go backwards at this point because they don't have the writers. They don't have writers that are good enough to continue writing forward. They got to look back because when you write forward, you're making shit up as you go. You're making your own story. So they're better off going back, digging in the crates, finding stories that pretty much have already been written, and bringing them and taking creative liberties with them and bringing them to life. I feel like that's all that you can really do right now. Just because they don't have the writing talent to do it. And I feel like a part of what made the last three really bad is because of the time crunch that they put the writers on. They put the same writers that wrote the last season of Game of Thrones are the same writers that wrote the last three movies. So they put them on such a heavy time crunch, to finish up what they were doing and then now get working on these next three movies that and that's my biggest problem with the movie industry right now. The time constraints that they put on the time restraints that they put is what's causing the lack of production value. The lack in, production value when it comes to CGI, the lack of production value when it comes to the story as well. And also the lack of production value when it comes to the actors. A lot of these situations we can't blame Daisy Ripley for the Rey Skywalker debacle. We can't blame her. All we can blame is the writers.
But my whole thing also is like if you're a character and you embody the character, you should also be able to be like, yeah, I don't think he'd do this, or I don't think she'd say this. This isn't something she'd wear. This isn't where they'd go. Like, you know what I mean? If you are that character and you embody that character, especially if you're something that has like a rich history and culture, like, nah, that's one of those things where you kind of have to say something. Just like, and I'm not throwing no shade, but if Mark Hamill disagreed so heavily with the whole thing with his portrayal and how they rewrote his character, I don't understand why he did it.
Yeah,
I mean, this is very, very true. I mean,
maybe he
now go ahead.
I don't know. Maybe he just felt that, because it's the biggest movie he's ever been in. The only movie he's basically. Well, he's probably done other movies.
I feel like Mark Hamill's only really known for three things. Again, not throwing shade. Luke Skywalker, Joker, and I'm going for no, I'll put it I'll rank him. He's mostly known for Joker. Secondly, Luke Skywalker, and then thirdly, the Trickster.
I was gonna go Fire Lord Ozai, but okay.
Oh yeah. Oh shit, I forgot about that as well. So we can put Ozai as 3, and we'll drop Trickster to 4. I mean, actually, no, we can't even do that. Because we're talking about known for. Not a lot of people know that he voiced Ozai.
I did know that.
So
that's actually funny. I forgot about that.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, so I'd say number 1, he's known for the voice of Joker. 2, Luke Skywalker. 3, Trickster, and then 4 is Ozai, because it's not a lot of people know that voice Ozai.
Boy, oh boy, yeah. I just don't.
I get what you're saying, but again, I still believe we can't really blame the actor, especially the actor who gets brought onto a project. Mind, I don't know any movie that Daisy Ripley was in before these last 3 movies. So I feel like also if you're an actor that also ain't got that much cred, that's got brought onto this massive project,
To be honest with
you're
you,
not.
I'm going to
Go
tell
ahead.
you something funny. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure she's been in like 2 or 3 other movies, maybe before this one or before Star Wars. But I do know for a fact, and I was told this, that the person who told me this is like a CSI or NCIS, buff, Law and Order buff. That's all they watch.
Mm-hmm.
And Daisy Ridley played a corpse on a table.
Oh, that's dope. So that would definitely
This
translate to her
corpse,
portrayal of Rey.
this I believe this corpse was nude.
And we are in the shade room, ladies and gentlemen.
Yo,
Oh my god!
welcome to the shade room. Wake your punk ass up. Now that makes sense to the way she portrayed Rey, because Rey was very stale, very much so like a corpse. So yeah, I just feel like as an actor that really ain't got that much cred. You're being brought onto this massive project that has such a rich history, and I bet you $100 she wasn't a Star Wars fan before this. You're not gonna fuck with the script. You're not gonna tell these guys, these men in the suit, hey, she wouldn't do this, she wouldn't do that. You're just gonna do the show and get your money and get your cred up, so that when it comes time, you can be like, you know what, hold up, I think I want to change this. I think I want to move this. I think I want to move that. Look at Henry Cavill when it came to him playing The Witcher. One, he was already when he got brought onto the project, he sat down and read all the Witcher books and played all the games to make sure that he was caught up on the lore and on the character. Right?
Yeah, I know
But
that
also at that time, yeah, first off, he's a level 7. We got to try to get in contact with him. We got to send him a level 7 shirt, sweatshirt, something. But before he was The Witcher, he was already Superman. He had that reputation. He had that cred. He was a high profile actor, what I mean, before The Witcher came on. So he had that ability to look at the writers and producers and be like, "Oh, listen, this not sitting right with me. This doesn't feel like the character." And as him being the high profile actor, as in this show will not work without him, they had to listen to him. So with Daisy Ripley, I can't blame her too much for the story of Rey. Definitely can blame her for the portrayal, and the acting level of things. But for the writing of the character, she was in no position to try to call shots. She was in no position to try to call shots. Even though she's the main character, she's not a high profile celebrity. They could have easily replaced her without
I mean,
second thought or hesitation.
it was a big role for her. I mean, I doubt she probably wasn't even
it was career
thinking
defining.
of saying anything, because who knows how much of a Star Wars fan
Yeah, there's that part too.
she was before this.
Yep, very true, very, very true. And also, again, this is a new character, and no other level of literature has this character, so she couldn't even be like, I don't feel like this character would do this or would do that. Um, you know what I mean? So it's really hard to kind of blame her for Ray. Because again, she's just portraying the character as they gave it to her. If they gave her a shit character and shit writing to go with the character, as well as you being a not even a C-list celebrity. You kind of just got to roll with the punches and do what they gave you.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just the way I feel. But I do agree with you, Darth Triage, on with Mark Hamill. I feel like he definitely had the power to say something about his character and the way they wrote him. It made zero sense for him to, because the whole point of the story, the whole reason why he even attacked Kylo in his sleep was because the amount of dark side he felt reminded him of his father, supposedly. And like that, if he wasn't afraid of his father, the level of dark side he had in his father, and he knew that his father was able to be redeemed, his character should have believed in the redemption of Kylo and should have focused and honed his focus in on Kylo to help him to help pretty much guide him down the light side of the Force.
But my thing also with that is, here's the part that, like I said, it doesn't make sense. So he's not going to kill his father, who he realizes is a victim of betrayal and manipulation, to become the guy in the suit, to become this monster who is feared throughout the entire fucking galaxy. And then he turns around and tries to kill his nephew in his sleep, in essence betraying him, which turns him down the exact same path that his father walked because he felt betrayed by him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just makes no sense. Like the when you say Mark Hamill had the power to say something if he wanted to about the plot and what was going on, absolutely. I think that they could have just done it better. They definitely went down some paths that didn't need to really happen.
The only thing that could have remotely,
that's where I'm getting at.
the only thing that could have remotely made sense is if they had let it just had a dark ending, where if it had been Supreme Leader Ren and Lady Palpatine, and they ruled the galaxy like the way Anakin said he wanted to with Padme, and they both went full Sith Lord. That's the only thing that would have made sense if they had just let the bad guys win.
See that I would have rather had that. That would
Right?
have been cool.
Like, oh, we're not going to be quote unquote dictators, but it's one of those things like we're going to run shit the way we see fit. Like, the people can still have a voice, but
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be ran well. Padme, or not Padme. Wow, I said Padme. Oh my God, Rey would not be like Palpatine would be. Anakin, if he wanted to rule the galaxy the way he saw fit, I said Anakin. I meant Ren. I'm stuck on the old movies. Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Let's just call him Ben for now. Let's just call him Ben.
Ben Solo.
Ben. Worst name ever.
Yeah, I for me personally, I just feel like the whole situation with between I know we're getting off topic right now, but the whole shit between the connection more so between Ray and Ben, that didn't make any sense to me either. That shit made zero sense to me. What would have made more sense to me is if they went with how the books had it, that Leia and Han had twins, and one of them went to the dark side, but not knowing that they were
Correct.
that they were
Yes.
twins or whatever. That's why they had the connection between them using the force that they had. That would make more sense instead of
That would
a
have been a better
random.
movie.
Oh, way better movie. Way better movie. I even thought up an idea if like that they were both clones of Anakin. Well, one was a clone of Anakin and one was a clone of Luke. And because clearly, both Luke and Anakin lose their arms. They who's to say they can't use that, those arms to create clones of each of each of them. And that
But
that would have made a better story than what we got. But I'm still sticking with the fact that they should have been twins. It would have been closer to the source material that they had, and it just would have made so much more sense for them to have the connection that they had off rip, to be able to not just talk to each other from across the galaxy using the force, but they were able to interact with each other's environment through the force. It just would have made so much more sense that they were twins. That's why their force connection was so strong. And then to have Kylo die at the end was fucking bullshit. They should have had him turn to the light, survive, and him and Rey rebuild a new Jedi Order using a new set of principles and laws and values by
but
learning from the mistakes of the last Jedi Order.
but that's also one of the many problems. And so you said about the whole thing with them cloning with them making clones because Anakin and Luke both lost their hands. That is a thing that does happen. Someone finds Luke Skywalker's hand on Cloud City and uses it to make a clone of him because there's a whole theory that states the Luke that trains Rey is not the real Luke.
Oh my God! Don't
Oh
go!
my.
Don't! Oh my God! Don't start! Don't start!
That's a whole thing. Because, but
Well,
like
we're
once
here.
again,
Well, we're here already. We're getting into it.
but it's like we said, we already know that cloning Jedi is extremely hard, especially if you have a higher M count. If anything, your M count can be manipulated or taken out of your body because we see that with Moff Gideon and everything he was doing with Grogu's blood. And then if you watch the Bad Batch, everything they were doing with Omega and hers for Sidious for Project Necromancer. So the whole thing is that the Force is always trying to balance itself back out.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And like that's a constant going on thing. Cause like he literally says that I knew if Ren rose to power, he's like his eventual opposite would eventually rise in the light side. And it wound up being Rey. Just like how people theorize that Grogu was in response to Plagueis creating Anakin.
Interesting. Because Plagueis and Sidious did create Anakin.
Yes. So it's stated that Grogu is the Force balance itself back out.
I got a question with that.
Okay.
With Plagueis creating Anakin, so my question for that, and I just want to point out, it is the last 30 minutes of the show. I gotta ask, does that mean that Force sex is a thing?
Oh God, no.
Well, hold on, because they are making another Star Wars movie, and Rey is pregnant.
What?
Oh, was I keeping that to myself? Whoops.
Yeah. No, there's already been screenshots and stuff like that from um test screenings. The next movie, it is gonna still involve Ray, and Ray is actually pregnant. So I bet you $100 it's Kylo's kid. I bet you it's Kylo's kid.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's just another. Guess what? Guess what? I'm not surprised.
Yeah. So I saw this coming. I saw this coming. I saw of course you're gonna take two of the strongest Force users, both a Skywalker and a Palpatine, and they're gonna get them together, and their child is gonna be an absolute beast in the fucking Force. Like the child's gonna be I feel like the child's gonna be so strong in the Force that she's gonna push out. When she pushes to give birth to this child, nothing but air is going to come out because the child's so strong in the Force. It is the Force.
Wow.
I feel like when she gives birth to this child, it's going to be so strong in the Force that it's just going to sound like a big ass queef.
Oh boy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So this is the last 30 minutes of the show. This is always the last 30 minutes of the show.
That went so far left so quickly. Oh my God.
Oh, I'm just saying because it's like it's a Palpatine who is trained by one of the strongest Sith Lords, who ends up becoming one of the most powerful Sith Lords, and a descendant of another powerful Sith Lord. It makes sense that the child's gonna come out. It's probably she's probably gonna fucking queef lightning. She's probably gonna queef Force lightning.
Oh my
Push and there's nothing.
gosh.
And you know how Bane was able to create an entire storm in one room? I think that's what's gonna happen. As soon as she goes into labor, she's gonna start pushing, and the doctor's gonna get fried from fucking Force lightning. This child's gonna literally walk the line between light and dark.
The image that is in my head right now is both terrifying and I don't know what else. It's not arousing. It's I don't know.
Oh, he said he's gonna throw lightning from her vagina. That is hilarious. That is hilarious.
She's a fucking walking hot pocket. Oh God. I'm just saying, for that one moment, the MCU and Star Wars are gonna combine together. And fucking Rey's gonna be farting out storms.
Oh Lord.
Vaginally farting out storms.
Wow. All right.
The child's gonna come out with yellow eyes.
Let's guess. Let's do some just some fun guesses on where we think this movie's gonna go. Like legit.
Straight to
hell.
the trash can. It's gonna go straight to DVD. Straight to DVD. Straight to DVD. Straight to DVD.
Man.
That's where it's going. It's going straight to DVD.
I meant more along the lines of the plot.
Listen, it's going into a broken prophylactic. That's where it's going.
Oh man. Because like this, you got to look at the setup of it. The setup, pretty much, a geriatric Sith Lord somehow had a child, which is probably most likely a clone of himself, who ended up having a child, who is now having a child with her grandfather's apprentice's grandson.
Yeah, it's quite
Like
confusing.
the shit this thing, Sweet Home Alabama.
Wow.
Holy shit.
It just
Wow.
sings Sweet Home Alabama.
I'm
Because
sorry,
we lived
sir.
at home in a trailer.
I'm sorry,
Living at
sir.
home on Coruscant.
Are you referring to incest, sir? Is that
I
what?
don't know. It's like it's not. It's definitely not. But at the same time,
Hey, it works for the Tigerians.
oh shit, damn.
I
I
mean,
mean, yeah,
until they
it is
started,
from the writers.
until they started giving birth to dragons.
Just saying.
Hey, you never know. You never fucking know with it with this. It takes on it just takes on a life of its own at this point. Like the writers are just pretty much. I feel like the writers all just get in a room together, hot box a room, take a bunch of fucking edibles, and just see what comes out of it. Because that's really what it feels like at this point. They're just getting high and just throwing darts at a board to see what kind of movie what this movie's gonna do next.
That's definitely what it is.
It was just like, oh, what if Rey was pregnant? By who? Is physical intercourse not a thing in the Star Wars world?
I really hope they don't make a movie like either two things, right? If she's pregnant, she's gonna be swinging around her lightsaber with a baby bump, and it's gonna be weird as hell. And there's gonna be a lot of backlash on that. Or she's gonna be swinging a lightsaber with a baby on her back, and it's gonna be weird as hell. And there's gonna be a lot of backlash on that.
That's solid. That is very, very, very solid. Like, because then my question is, if you're swinging a lightsaber and like from the image that I saw, it's not baby bump pregnant. It is like she's at least like 7, almost 8 months pregnant in like the image that I saw. So it's like her whole like fighting style has to change to compensate for the extra room that she has on the front. Because if not, she's just gonna fucking slice the front end of her stomach off. Just giving herself a C-section.
I mean,
Oh,
that is
God.
one of the reasons.
Oh.
What was that?
I was gonna say that is one of the reasons why female members of the Jedi Order did not get pregnant, but
Yeah, that I was actually gonna bring that up.
that sounds like a retrograde abortion from where I'm sitting.
Exactly. Damn. Like my thing is also like there's these forms of lightsaber style. What form is she using?
What form is Rey
They never
using?
get into any of that. Yeah, they never get into any of that in her training.
She's using Rey's form, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's also known as Form 11, which is asshole.
Which is bullshit. I'm you will be trained in the last final form of lightsaber combat. It was created by a wayward Jedi long after the Jedi Order had fallen. But Master,
Who was a novice at best.
what is set form? This form. Yes. This form is known solely as bullshit.
Huh.
And you'll become proficient in this. Well, how do in what situations do I use this? In the situations where you need your plot armor to protect you.
Among other things.
Just swing for the fences. You'll block every single attack. Swing for the fences.
I mean, who would the enemy even be? Like,
And that's a very fucking solid question right there.
mix, like you can't even think of one. Like,
Well, hold on, because there is like this race of aliens. I forget what they were called. They're basically on the edge of the galaxy that are mad dangerous. That aren't force sensitive. They're basically immune to the force.
oh,
So there's one. Two.
Oh.
There's always a bigger fish. Like once again, it might be one of those things like where because she's having the baby, there could be someone else on the dark side who's rearing their ugly head now because her child's got so much potential.
Well, here's the question: if she took out Sidious in this movie, Kylo was the apprentice. He's dead. They in the last movie they took out both the master and the apprentice.
Right.
So who would be the next in line unless Sidious continuously with these fucking backup plans? Sidious is the master of fucking backup plans at this point.
But that wouldn't matter in hindsight either. Just like how the Empire came from the quote unquote from the Republic, and just like how the First Order came from the Empire, there's always going to be something or someone. Just like how we saw because of the mouse, there's a whole generation of new children that are Force users. All it takes is that one person to fall off the beaten path. Next thing you know, he's learning about the Sith. He's wielding dark side energy, and then he goes or starts hurling lightning. Like Thomas, stop! You can't do this. It's Darth Thomas, bitch.
But here's the thing. I mean, I guess we see with Darth Bane, he essentially, for the most part of him, growing in power, when it comes to Bane, a lot of it is self-taught. A lot of the true workings of the dark side is self-taught. But, the question is, where is young Thomas going to get the information from?
See, Bane only had one problem, and that was lore. And once he found that holocron, he was good because he had all the power he needed already.
Which holocron? The first holocron?
Revan's.
That he finds on Revan's holocron. Yep, gotcha.
Yeah, because his skill came so naturally through the Force because he was so powerful. So all he was missing was the actual lore of the Sith. So he knew what he needed to do with it. That's why he basically said "fuck you" to all of his teachers and went and dug through some ancient Sith graves to try and find what he wanted to find, because he knew it.
Now we see Bane. He finds Revan's holocron. He finds Frida Nad's holocron. Then now I haven't got to the point, but I'm pretty sure he ends up becoming successful in creating his own holocron. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I can kind of see where it's going. He eventually succeeds in building his own holocron. Am I correct in my assumption?
Oh, so I'm not going to spoil that for you, actually. But here's another thing too: is that we keep only being mindful of certain people's affinity to the Force. He's like, we could fuck around and have someone who specializes in all the shit that Xana specialized in, bewitching the mind, or Sith sorcery. We haven't seen that yet in live action.
I mean, we see a little bit of sorcery when it comes to Ahsoka, but no, that actually is a really good point to see a different type of Sith, not necessarily a Sith that's ready for battle.
If
but
we
a
see a
Sith that's sitting
Dothmerian
in the
witch,
background.
if they bring in, well, actually, they brought Dothmerian witches in the new season of
Yeah,
Ahsoka.
yeah, with Ahsoka. So I feel like it would be interesting if you're right, Triage. If we see a different kind of Sith Lord, because there were different there were during Bane's storyline or Bane's time. Well, before the fall of the Brotherhood, we saw that there were different. Actually no, even after the Brotherhood. Because he never went to the other planets and the other schools that were teaching the Sith assassins, that were teaching the Sith witches. So there are those other types of Sith out there. They just predominantly show us the Sith that are the lightsaber wielding and ready for battle. Essentially, a lot of Siths that are descendants for Korriban.
right? And if you know about Sidious, Sidious hated the thought of using a lightsaber. He thought that a Sith Lord's only true weapon should be the Force. The only reason why he carried one is because he felt by carrying one and wielding it, he was mocking the Jedi.
That's why he killed them with the lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
And
so it'd be really interesting to see them, bring in let's say a Dathmerian Sith, because again, we see Dathomir and Ahsoka, we see Morgan, and I feel like in Ahsoka, I feel like Morgan was a very big play on the idea of the concept of Camelot with Morgan Le Fay and Merlin and Morgan Le Fay, and with Morgan Le Fay being this evil witch that pretty much was in the background controlling everything that we saw happen. I definitely felt like she was definitely a play on Morgan Le Fay.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Because at the end of Morgan Le Fay's in her end goal was to essentially control the ruler of Camelot. So, and what was Morgan's intent? To become a full sister of Dathomir and have that power, and essentially have Thrawn, who essentially was supposed to be her Camelot, was supposed to be her her king of Camelot, the king of the galaxy. She wanted to pretty much be the one in the next ruler's ear, the one with the true power of the dark side to whisper sweet nothings into someone's ear and have them follow her orders and have them think that everything that they're doing was their idea to begin with.
And that is actually the cunning behind the Sith.
Exactly.
So that's actually interesting.
That would be a really, really cool idea. Like a Sith that they'd have to go up against that. They can't use traditional methods to take them out. That there's a whole chess game that they have to play. That'd be pretty cool.
But this is one of the reasons. But this is one of the reasons why the Jedi are always being caught off guard. Like, you must have fear, intimidation. You must be patient. He's like, you must use misdirection. Like, there's so many other routes that the Sith take to get a goals accomplished or jobs done. Like, I'm a big DC guy. You guys both know that. And like, look at someone like Vandal Savage. Vandal Savage was manipulating shit for years from the forefront to the point where he was every major conqueror in history. And then he realized, all right, instead of me being the guy who's leading the charge, maybe I need to be whispering in the ear of the guy who's leading the charge. That way, if shit fails or stuff goes sideways, history remembers him or can see him and maybe not so much pay attention to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because that's what Bane was riding on. That's what Bane was riding on the whole time. Riding in the undercurrents, riding in the background, moving chess pieces without them knowing that he was the one that was playing in the beginning, from the very beginning. And I feel like Sidious took a page out of his book when he decided to use the failed clone Snoke to manipulate Kylo Ren and manipulate the First Order and shit like that. Or is it second? All right, so Kylo Ren's people, are they known as the First Order or the Second Order?
First.
First. Yeah.
Yeah. Kylo's people were the First Order.
What was that?
They were the First Order.
Which was all right. So the Empire gave birth to the First Order. So my thing is, I feel like So I definitely feel like Sidious took a book out of Bane's book, and pretty much had somebody on the forefront pulling the strings, calling out shots, when it was in reality it was him in the background the entire time. He was essentially the Morgan Le Fay of honestly, he was the Morgan Le Fay of the entire. I can't say. So Plagueis was the Morgan Le Fay to begin with, and then Sidious killed him and became the Morgan Le Fay, the one behind the scenes, pulling the strings, making people do the things that he wants them to do, while they think that it's them making the choices and making the decisions.
Sounds accurate.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know. What's your take on it, Legacy? What's your take? Actually, I'll ask you the same question you asked us. What do you foresee the storyline being for the next coming movie if they were to continue Rey's storyline?
Oh man. Well, what they've done so far is try to connect the new Star Wars movies that they've made to the old ones. So, if they try to continue doing that, which will just be a shit show if they do, I cannot think of where it may go. I can't think of what they might pull, like, from the older movies or older lore. I mean, I'm trying to think of anybody who might still be alive. Are any of the Fets still alive?
Oh yeah.
Yes, no, of course they are. The Book of Boba Fett's out, but yeah, that's true. I don't know. Maybe they'll tie it all in together. Who knows?
So here's what I think's going to happen. Because it was originally stated that if George Lucas had did 7, 8, and 9, Luke Skywalker was supposed to be rebuilding the Jedi Order, while Leia was supposed to be rebuilding the Senate, and they were supposed to find out that there was a new boss who had united all the syndicates under him, and he was he's the one responsible for running all the spice and everything else. And that person was supposed to be revealed to be Darth Maul.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be that revealed that Maul was still alive. So we know someone is manipulating the whole thing with the spice, because you see that in The Mandalorian and in Boba Fett.
Yes.
Yeah.
So someone is still pushing the spice across the galaxy. We just don't know who it is at the moment. So that's one. Two, the whole thing with Thrawn coming back is that, they want to reunite the Empire and, long live the Empire, and the Empire is coming back. But the Empire is coming back to a whole shit show. Because
that is true. Because if you do follow the movies, Palpatine's dead and his entire fleet from his planet is shot.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the
shit.
fact that Luke has been rebuilding the Jedi Order. I'm talking about the fact that the Mandalorians are now all reunited under one flag.
Oh, that's very true.
Yep.
And then let's not forget that Ahsoka's running around with the rebels now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. And then on top of the fact that if Rey, quote unquote, is canon to all that, if she's still going on and all this is about to happen, wait, no. Rey wouldn't still be. Rey would be like a kid when all this is going on. Excuse me. I'm sorry. If they're going to tie that that the Empire is still around in some way, shape, or form from that, that's the only thing I could think of. Because like, if anything comes for them to fight, there are so many people who could be united against them because everything else that's happened, especially things that happened in the fall of the Empire.
Yes, that's very, very true. I mean, I didn't even think about Andor and the Mandalorian, like their forces, all planets' forces, and everybody joining together. What enemy could you be facing?
Listen, full on Avenger style, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Honestly,
man.
yeah. I mean, that's what they did at Book of Boba Fett. The second season, halfway through the season, it became Mandalorian again.
I mean, shit. I say, let Starkiller pop up and let him run rampant for a bit. Listen.
Please let Starkiller pop up. Please let Starkiller pop up.
See, that is what I want. That is what everybody wants. And that was it rumored that Starkiller was the brother or
yeah, so Starkiller essentially should be the brother at this point, with Anakin now being a part of the void and a part of the Force itself. Anakin's now taken on the role of the father.
Yes.
Ahsoka, with being granted life and the Force of the sister, she's now the sister.
Yes.
So it would only make sense that Starkiller would be the brother. Anakin embodies the Force, sister embodies the light side of the Force, and the brother embodies the dark side of the Force.
I think that that person is that I don't know if they're a Sith, but they're the one wielding the red lightsaber in the new trailer for the Acolyte, in the new sneak peek with the mask on.
See,
Ooh.
I thought that was what Baylan Skoll was up to in Ahsoka. I thought that was the whole reason him going to the planet and him looking for everything.
Yes,
that's what I thought he was up to.
But I don't think that he is going to be granted to be the brother or anything. I think that he's going there because he's drawn to it.
Yes.
And he knows like something is there, but he's selfish and arrogant because he's a former Jedi and he wants it.
Well, here's my thing. My question is like, how are they going to do that story now that the actor has passed away? You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I mean.
He passed away right at the end. He passed away. I'm pretty sure he passed away like 2 episodes before the finale.
I don't know what they're gonna do with him, but I know that yes, he was on his way to it. Obviously, he's not gonna make it there. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do, but he's not gonna be a part of the 3. Not in my opinion. I think it's gonna be the guy that we just saw was just revealed in the new trailer for the Acolyte wielding the red lightsaber. I think that individual, we don't know who he is yet. His name, I've heard rumors, starts with an M.
The guy that was, whoever was revealed.
Marin or not Marin?
Well, that's the thing, because from my knowledge is that the acolyte takes place about 100 years or so before episode 1. Like this is like the acolyte is a prequel series.
Oh, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, at least from my knowledge, it's a prequel series. This takes place within that time of peace that they had. Essentially, I'd say maybe like about 900, maybe a little bit less than not, a little bit more than 900 years of peace that the Republic has had.
Oh, you know what? That makes sense because there was a bunch of Jedis in the trailer. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so it has to take place within that time of peace, and I think that this may take place in the time in which, again, I haven't finished Jedi Survivors yet, but it may take place in that time frame of like the time frame that he ends up discovering, where the whole like distant galaxy that they end up going to and stuff like that. Again, both of you guys finished Survivor, so I'm probably wrong, but it's it is a possibility that it takes place within that time period.
I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah, not the time period that Cal Kestis is in, but the time period that he ends up finding out about.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so that is definitely a possibility. But hey, let's take a quick break. Let's hear back from our podcast friends, and we'll be right back with our final remarks.
Going on, everybody? Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics here, and we'd like to introduce you guys to our show, The Indie Breakdown, a show where we break down your favorite indie comic book characters' power, stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an eventual indie versus matchups. All Indie Breakdown episodes go live first on Spotify and on Patreon, with them eventually showing up on YouTube. So if you guys want to check out The Indie Breakdown and learn more from your favorite indie comic book creators, now's the time to do so. We hope you guys decide to tune in, and remember, until next time, midnight is coming.
Hi, I go by Lady Mandalore, the creator of Roomful of Blurs. Do you have a whiteboard in your room? Do people get a glazed over look in their eye when you start to explain things to them? Well, come join me every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we can talk comics and get to know some new creators of color, only on YouTube and Twitch.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, Calvin, from the Icarus Podcast, and I just want to say that we got new episodes coming next Saturday and every Saturday after that. So all I will have to say from here is keep enjoying the show. You can check us out, www.icarusmetrocomics.com. Check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and more. See y'all next time.
And we're back. If you're just tuning in, we're finishing up our episode on the one, the only Jedi Master General Obi-Wan Kenobi. At this point, we're just talking about the Star Wars franchise in itself. Where we're hoping that it goes next, and where we really don't want it to go next. So yeah, some final remarks. All right, so for me, I feel like where we see Kenobi at the end of his series, Obi-Wan Kenobi, I personally feel like, and this is something I've been thinking for a while, I don't feel like it really lines up too well with the character when we first find him, when Luke first finds him. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm quite younger than Triage, He probably knows more than me. But on this point of topic, but I feel like it just doesn't. There's a lot of time in between A New Hope and where Kenobi ends, because Kenobi takes place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, and I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that A New Hope is about 20 to 25 years be after the Revenge of the Sith.
No, I'd say A New Hope is 10 years from the Kenobi show. Like I would say Luke is in his early 20s at best.
Yeah, that's the way I was seeing it as well. Because if we look at the timeline, like I said, I'm currently reading Darth Vader's storyline. Thank you so much, Triage, for letting me borrow this collection. It's absolutely phenomenal. And in the back of the book, they actually give you a timeline of all the books in comparison to all the movies.
Oh, that's nice.
And so the first book of Darth Vader's storyline, Path of Destruction, takes place 1,035 years before A New Hope. So if I'm looking at timeline wise, actually no, technically, from what it says in the back of the book, A New Hope takes place 35 years. That 35 years is after Episode 1. So if Revenge of the Sith, Anakin is about, at the end of Revenge of the Sith, about 20, maybe around 2021, and then Kenobi takes place 10 years later, so Anakin's about 35, and then if I'm correct, if you take a look at the age of Grogu, when we first see Grogu, he's about 50 years old. He's 50
Right.
years old, they say.
Yeah.
When we first see him in Mandalorian, which means, and then Grogu was also there for Order 66.
Mm-hmm.
And Order 66 takes place 10 years after 10 years before the beginning of Kenobi. That would mean Grogu was about 35 or so, maybe 30, when Order 66 took place. So I don't know, the way I see it, it's about, and then we also got to take into consideration how long. We also have to take into consideration how long Boba Fett was inside of the worm as well.
Where are we
I
going with
know
this?
they in the show. So I'm just trying to get a time frame down from Revenge of the Sith to where we would pretty much see till pretty much the ending of, well, I would say to the beginning of The Force Awakens.
So, okay, I would say from episode 3 to episode 6 is at least 20 is at least 25 years. You figure by the time Luke Skywalker builds the green lightsaber, loses his hand, defeats Vader in a duel, he's got to be like in his mid 20s. He has to be, because around the time of New Hope, like all his friends had gone off, they had joined the military, they'd done these things, like they basically went off to college, and he's still sitting on the farm. So he had to be like in his late teens, early 20s. And it's like you figure the rebellion against the Empire had to last at least a few years. So I'd say he's probably in his mid 20s. And then you figure if you fast forward to episode 7, if if Luke had restarted the order and Ben Solo is his nephew, Ben Solo's got to be in his late 20s, early 30s. So that's another 30 years.
Hmm.
So you got to figure Luke Skywalker, by the time episode 7 rolls around, is got to be in his 60s, pushing 70s.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. That makes sense. All right, hold on. So I am currently pulling up the timeline that is from the back of the Bane books. So let's see. All right, so the Phantom Menace takes place 32 years before A New Hope. All right, so let's see here. Boom, 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 boom. All right, A New Hope.
That can't be right.
Well, again, I'm going off of the timeline that they give us for in the back of the book. So let's see here. Rise of the Empire is from about 67 years to 0 years before A New Hope. So let me see. So just doing my due diligence, my quick research real quick from the source material that we have here. So Darth Plagueis' storyline is 67 years before A New Hope,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then we run into Cloak of Deception, Darth Maul, the Shadow Hunter, and Maul Lockdown. That's 33 years before A New Hope. Episode 1, Phantom Menace, is 32 years before A New Hope. And then we run into Episode 2, Clone Wars, 22 years before A New Hope. Clone Wars takes place 22 to 19 years before A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's in that? Blah blah blah. Then we come up to Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith is 19 years before A New Hope.
Wow.
So let's see here. Which means, wow, this actually has Kenobi in here, listed in here. Oh wow, interesting. So Kenobi takes place between that 19 to 10 years before A New Hope. So let's see here. So Luke and Leia are born. So at the end of Revenge of the Sith, so let's say 19 years before A New Hope, right? And A New Hope is all right. So let's see here. So when New Hope starts, Luke and Leia should be about 19, 20 years old.
Right.
By the end of their trilogy, let's see. Empire Strikes Back is about 3 years, so 19, 20, 21, 22, about 22. Return of the Jedi is 4 years. Uh, so yes. So let's see. They're New Hope 19, 19, 20, 21, 22. 23, 24, 25, 26. So Luke and Leia should be about 26 by the end of Return of the Jedi.
Gotcha.
And then let's see here. We have the Rebels in here. Rebels would be really nice to help out with the timeline. The New Jedi Order. It's all after. This is all Luke stuff. 35 years after, 40 plus years after. Yeah, so everything after Empire Strikes Back is all books, which is a lot of. It's a lot of reading from the X-Wing story, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books. Thrawn's trilogy, just another 3 books. X-Wing, Iran's Revenge,
Yeah, it's a lot.
Istar's Revenge. Then you have the Jedi Academy trilogy, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which end up going into the Mandalorian storyline with Darksaber. Then you got Blackfeet, the Crisis trilogy, which is Before the Storm, Shield of Lies, Tyrant's Test. Then you have the story, The New Rebellion, and then it goes into the Coreyland trilogy, 3 books, and then the Hand of Thrawn duology, which is 2 books. Then you have Scourge and Survivor's Quest, and all those take place between 5 to 20 years after A New Hope.
Scourge,
So
you said?
Yeah, Scourge.
He was the one that was working for Dooku.
Yeah. He
Wait, was it Scourge?
Scourge is the name of an ancient Sith that was working with Revan.
Yes, excuse me. You're right. I'm bugging. He was. Oh, then who was the bodyguard before Bane?
Oh, shoot.
What was that?
Who was the bodyguard before Cad Bane?
Oh, the bodyguard before Cad Bane. Oh, I don't know.
I can't think of his name, but it was it sounded like Scourge.
Yeah. Scorn?
Yeah, you guys would know way better. Scorn?
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, because he gets introduced in the comics and the really short Clone Wars series. And it's supposed to be that he was the bounty hunter who was working for Dooku after Jango Fett got killed. He eventually winds up being killed by Obi-Wan, and then they hired Cad Bane.
Oh.
You know, that is very interesting. That's something that I'm definitely going to look up after the show. We're going to definitely bring it up in the next show. Now, I don't know. My thing is, it's just like we have all this lore. This is literally 2 pages filled with books, with literature source material that reaches, I'm sorry, between 37,000 and 25,000 years before A New Hope.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And yet they decide to go forward with this bullshit Rey Skywalker storyline when they have all this, all this lore that they can really be playing with, and they're sitting there fucking up stories.
Hey, Legacy, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Who would you have play Revan?
Let's go.
Oh my God. You really want to hear my answer?
I do.
Well, either two people. Keanu
Keanu
Reeves.
Reeves better
Yes.
be one of them.
Yes, yeah,
Yo,
Reeves.
there you go. Absolutely. Fuck anybody else. Keanu Reeves, yes.
Who was the second one? I'm curious.
What's his name? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to get back to you on it. His name is escaping me, but I have an actor also for Bane.
All right, who got Dwayne The Rock
Dave
Johnson?
Dave Bautista.
What?
Yo, didn't we triage? Didn't we say that a few episodes ago, or we were talking? Yeah, I think it was like last episode. We had said that.
I don't want to say no to Batista. I don't think he's played a menacing enough character enough for me to say that.
Correct. Yeah, he's not. Yeah, I agree.
Well, I'll say because you want to know who I'd have play Bane?
Who?
Who you got?
Tom Hardy.
Ooh.
Oh.
I mean, he's already played Bane, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that's good.
No pun intended. Yes.
Yeah, that's
honestly,
good.
yeah, that's good. That's good, dude.
Because like he can be smooth, he can be cunning, he can be menacing, he can shake when necessary. Like I see him embodying that character and completely commanding every scene he was in.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. As long as it keeps the fucking, as long as it keeps the Christian Bale Bane voice at bay, I'm down with it.
Oh boy, yeah, nah, I'd rather see them show Revan and Malik fall off the beaten path. I'd rather show Bane rebel against the Brotherhood of Darkness. I'd rather see Malgus and the attack he led in the fucking Jedi Temple. Like there's so much other shit they could do, man. And
If they made a movie of Malik and Revan, oh my God.
That could be its own trilogy right there.
Yeah.
See,
yeah.
here's my problem with that. Disney's not willing to go that dark. They're not going to go Darth Bane storyline dark.
But you want to know what the wild part is? Is that if they're just testing the waters with stuff like that now with Deadpool. Because
but even then they're still keeping Deadpool at bay for the most part.
I mean, to an extent they have to, but it's also one of the things like, yo, let's see how dark we can do this without the mouse being pissed off. Because Lord forbid you upset the mouse. Let's remember, you can't upset the mouse. That's one.
Hey,
but it's
listen,
also
he's wearing gloves. He's ready for a prostate exam. Don't fuck with the mouse. The mouse is ready to give a prostate exam.
Oh God.
Nigga, what? Nigga, what? Oh my God.
Oh boy.
That has nothing to do with the
It does. Because when you piss off the mouse fucks you.
Yo, what is this guy talking about?
Look what happened with Gina Carrera. She said some shit, piss off the mouse, and now she's not existent.
Are we talking about the chick who's supposed to be playing Snow White?
No. That's no, that's some black chick. I'm talking about the chick that played what was her name in Mandalore? The buff chick that used to be a UFC fighter. She was also in
Oh, yes,
one of
yes, yes,
the
yes, yes, yes.
yeah. She made some comments about how she supported Trump. The mouse didn't like that, and now look at her.
Oh my
No, no, no,
God!
no.
Shut up.
From what I understand, they quote unquote tried to say she said something anti-Semitic, but
That's what I heard.
that's she supposedly compared like being a Republican in Hollywood, like to being a Nazi, being a Jew in Nazi Germany.
Mm.
Damn.
That's what I heard.
Ah.
But
But she was also an avid Trump supporter too, and that's
hey, man,
why she said what she said.
once again, politics is politics. We try not to try to talk politics, but it is what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, you're entitled to believe what you want, but
Yeah.
She said some real negative shit. Yeah. Point is, she said some real negative shit, and it pissed off the mouse. And what did the mouse do? Give her a prostate exam, even though she ain't got one.
My God.
oh my god, oh my
The mouse
god.
was like, "Oh, you want to play games? You want to play games with the mouse? Oh, you want to play games with the mouse? Oh."
See, now all you
I'm
gotta
gonna
do
have
now
nightmares.
is make a shirt with Mickey's face on it and the glove on the back.
I am not. Listen. I'm not even 30 yet. I'm not ready for a prostate exam.
Nope. Oh
My
my god.
prostate shall not get examined. Nah, I am
Listen.
not putting
Oh,
the mouse's face on shit. Maybe Steamboat Willie.
Yo, you're
I'll do.
stupid. You're
I'll,
stupid.
I'll do Steamboat Willie because he's public domain right now. But other
and
than
you
that,
talk
I am
about
not
me
fucking with the mouse.
and you talk about me with the Winnie the Pooh thing. Oh my god.
Listen,
I used to
you're
watch
Winnie the
Winnie the
Pooh.
Pooh all the time.
Winnie the Pooh's a
Oh,
chronic masturbator.
say it again. I don't think he got it. I don't think he heard it.
Winnie the Pooh is a chronic masturbator. I said it.
Oh shit, you're right. I didn't hear that.
Listen, man, he never wears pants. He always speaks in a low, satisfied tone. His hands always covered in sticky substance. I'm just saying.
Oh my. Oh my.
Oh bother!
My
Oh
childhood is
bother!
ruined.
Oh god.
No wonder he's always talking about how he wants honey.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about porn.
See?
Oh my god, you're right.
Yup. Yup. the old Honey Potter himself.
Oh my god. See, once again, they always go so far left. But yes,
Oh
in my
man,
opinion, they need to move away from this whole Skywalker
always.
Palpatine shit, all right? Once again, they go Mandalorian, they show us Mandalore, they show everything going on with them. People are fine with it. They could show us a whole new intergalactic bounty hunter and show us that, or show us a smuggler like Han Solo. Like there are so many different realms of opportunity within the Star Wars universe that they are just not following. I just don't get it.
I definitely agree. What are your feelings? I shared. I sent you guys the trailer for the new Lego Star Wars movie. How do you feel
I
about
didn't
that?
look. I didn't look at it yet. Shit, I still want to know who's the one running around supplying all the fucking spice. They haven't said who's the one behind the spice. All they ever do is talk about how the Hutts are gangsters, but we don't see the Hutts do no gangster shit. Only thing I ever saw Jabba do that was gangster was enslave Leia, and then he got choked out by her.
Very, very-
Java done turned Leia into a sex
I
slave.
mean, like right now. Oh, we
Mm.
want to talk about sex slaves now. So you're trying to tell me that that the Huts were the Diddy of their time?
You saw the outfit Leia was wearing. You're trying to
The Huts
tell
were the
me
R. Kelly of their time?
did she not kill
Oh,
him with breath control play?
oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I personally feel like fucking Jabba was a whole clown, bro. He was a whole clown. Jabba the Hutt was a whole fucking clown, man. And when she choked him out, that was just clown porn. For all those who have watched Family Guy, you know what I'm talking about when I say clown porn. Um, yeah,
The fuck?
I don't know, like, oh man, it's just like they fucking around and writing shit about the wrong shit. They're making stories about the wrong shit. Again, like I said, you have 35, 37,000. You have 37 millennia worth of lore that you can touch on. And you're worrying about some race. You're just so focused on the fucking Skywalker shit that you're just completely bypassing all the other shit that you've already created. They need to stop playing around, take them out of it, and just allow allow Dave Filoni and John Favreau to take the control and man the helm. That's plain and simple. Plain and simple. Jabba the Hutt was a clown. Leia hit some breath play on him. He wasn't ready for it. Leia was more of a freak than he was. Leia was down with that freaky
Holy
shit.
crap!
He wasn't ready for it.
I don't
Like,
think. Do you honestly think that Leia's more of a freak than Jabba in bed?
I
Whoa.
100%
Whoa.
agree.
Whoa. Whoa. God, where's this going?
I 100% agree. I would listen. You're talking about a woman that kissed her own brother. Sweet home Alabama. Darth Vader, I'm coming home to you.
Oh my god!
Absolutely. This is a woman that kissed her own brother. Of course she's more of a freak than Jabba the Hutt is.
Escalated so quickly.
So damn quickly. So damn quickly. Like, man, I'm just saying there's so much shit that they can really be making movies about, and they're wasting their time. All right, no shade to Daisy Ridley. No shade to her whatsoever. But all the shade to Ray Skywalker and the writers who decided that that was a good fucking story to give us. After how many years? How many years of no Star Wars movies? How long was it between Revenge of the Sith to The Force Awakens?
It was well over a decade.
Exactly. After a decade of no Star Wars, they decided to give us this bullshit. I don't know about y'all, but that pisses me off. Like I said, I'm not a hardcore Star Wars fan. I'm starting to get there. I was always a Trekkie, but
Really?
yeah, I was always a Trekkie for a while. I was a Trekkie for a while. Don't I always loved Star Wars, but I was never able to really get into it as I have in the past. I'd say I'd say 4 or 5 years. I never really dived that deep into Star Wars. But so I was always a Trekkie for a while there.
Live free and prosper.
Absolutely. Always. And remember, peace is a lie. There's only passion. And through passion
Gain strength.
and through strength,
I gain power.
And through power, I gain victory. And through victory,
My
legacy,
chains
let
are
them know what it
broken.
is. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm serious. I'm getting that tatted. I'm actually talking with a tattoo artist right now, so I can get that tatted on my left forearm.
Might not be a bad
Again,
idea.
Yeah, I agree.
not at all. Yeah, the way I see it is, so I'm taking, a lot of people may look at it and be like, oh well, that's Dakota's Sith. The Sith are evil. But if you take that and apply it to real world, it makes so much sense when you apply the code to real life. Peace is a lie. There's only passion. Peace is a lie because the main goal of a Sith Lord is to become stronger and become the strongest and best possible version of their self, right?
Among other
So,
things.
Yeah.
among other things. So when a massive change comes, there's always chaos because there's that point of acclamation. There's a long moment of acclamation where you have to become used to the change, when you have to grow. And if you look at life it's in general, anytime there is a massive change or growth, there's always some type of dissension into some kind of chaos. If you look at a chemical reaction on its molecular form, if you look at water, when water changes forms from a liquid to a gas, is because there is chaos within the molecule. You're heating up the water molecules, which makes them vibrate at a rapid pace, which causes them to become a gas. That is chaos on a molecular form. Look at humans. When we go through puberty, our bodies are going through chaos due to the hormonal imbalance, and we have to wait until the dust settles to see what kind of new adult being we're supposed to be. Throughout any type of change, which is what the Sith are to do, to grow, to become stronger in order to take out the Jedi, to grow and become stronger. To grow means change. Change means there's a lack of peace. Peace is a lie. There will never, ever, ever, ever be constant and consistent peace throughout anything that you do if you're trying to grow and become better at it. The only thing that's going to get you through that chaos is your passion. And through that passion, you gain strength to continue on. And through strength, that brings you the power to gain your victory. And your victory is the full consolidation and when the dust settles of that change.
Hmm.
And
Bravo, sir. Bravo.
throughout that change, you're bound by chains. You're not free because you're constantly going through that change. You're not free. But once you gain that power and that strength to continue through that change, that's how your chains are broken because you gain victory by achieving that change. Thus, your chains are broken and you are free.
Hmm. That is beautifully explained.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, that's the way I see it. Um, but at the same time, the Jedi also have a code of their own, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
And we hear a bit of that code when we see the trailer of the acolyte. There is no ignorance. There is knowledge. There is no passion. There is sincerity. There is no chaos. There is harmony. There is no death. There is the force.
Correct.
We always hear emotion yet peace, arrogance yet knowledge. We hear do not trust your eyes, for your eyes deceive you, and so on and so forth. I just can't, and yet both are true. Both codes are true in their own respect. You know what I mean? Because arrogance is the lack of knowledge. Arrogance is
Yeah.
the lack of knowledge. When someone's being arrogant, that means that they are lacking the knowledge about whatever topic that they're talking about. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. So pretty much so the Jedi Code in its simplest form is pretty much a set of rules in which by every Jedi is expected to live their life while also embodying what it means to be a Jedi. Um, and so I feel like both of those codes kind of go hand in hand, and that is what creates the balance. And then
Yes.
again, without balance, if you're not balanced, what are you? You're turbulent. You're in chaos. It makes sense. Peace is a lie. When you grow, I don't know. It just all makes sense to me. That's why I'm personally getting it tatted on my arm, um, as my power statement to remind me that I got to keep pushing through. I got to keep growing. That this chaos, this lack of peace that I'm currently going through is only a temporary part in order for me to achieve my goals.
Correct.
Um, so within saying that, my final remarks when it comes to General Kenobi, Jedi Master Kenobi, is that leading all the way up until his death in what it was the second movie,
Uh,
the
Technically
Empire
the
Strikes
fourth,
Back,
but the first,
where he dies in A New Hope.
yes.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Because that's the first confrontation between Luke and Vader. Um, Leading up until his death in A New Hope, it it has been honestly a roller coaster, and he has lived a life that has pretty much been ruled by loss. I personally feel like there's about between A New Hope and Kenobi, there's about 10 to 15 years between those movies from what I can see. Maybe a little bit more. Um 10 to 15 years, I'm interested to see hopefully the next season of Kenobi, if there is a next season of Kenobi, hopefully that expands on what created him to be Old Man Kenobi and what has led pretty much what led to Obi-Wan becoming Old Man Kenobi in the way Old Man Kenobi thought. Because there's also there's a stark difference between General Kenobi through in episodes 1 through 3, and then there's also a stark difference between Kenobi and Obi-Wan Kenobi in the show in the series, as opposed to Ben Kenobi we see in A New Hope. There's a very stark difference. So I would be interested in seeing what caused those changes within Kenobi that we see in the series to old Ben Kenobi.
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
Mm. Triage. Last remarks on Obi-Wan Kenobi.
If I had to say anything, it would be if your enemy tries to strike you down, ascend to your final form and become more powerful than they can ever imagine.
Legacy. Any final words on General Kenobi?
Um, if you reach the high ground, that means you had to have started low. But once you reach the high ground, stay there.
I see. Essentially, take the high road. You have a better advantage than your enemies who are taking the low.
Yeah. All the way around.
All right, I see that. I see that. I don't know. I still want to know if force intercourse is a thing.
Oh my god.
You should
I'm just saying.
you should Google it.
I'm afraid of what I'm gonna find. I'm quite afraid of what I'm gonna find, and I probably don't want my FBI agent, the one that's monitoring my phone. I probably don't want them to see that.
Oh,
I probably don't want my FBI.
Bell cannot be wrong.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. But trust me, I've seen some Star Wars parodies in my short lifetime.
I bet
Um,
you.
um, and yeah, so that's the last thing I want to pop up on my search feed right now. But no, I don't know. I definitely wonder if forced sex is a thing. If like you can like remember in Judge Dredd in Dredd the first one with Sylvester Stallone, where like he puts the helmet on and Shorty puts the helmet on and they have like mind sex.
That was Demolition Man. Also a
Demolition
Stallone
Man. I'm
movie.
sorry.
But
Also a Stallone movie. Wesley Snipes, Demolition Man, a fucking great movie. Such a great movie. Recommend everyone watching Demolition Man. Um, well, I kind of wonder if force sex is kind of like that, and if that's the case, I wants to have a lot of force sex. I feel like that's the best way to have protective sex.
Make sure you strap that helmet on tight.
yeah, who knows what mind STDs you could catch.
Go to the doctors. So it looks like you happen to have a MSTD. The
You're
fuck
gonna
is an
have
MS or
you're gonna
FSTD?
you're gonna have a permanent strap under your chin. It's gonna be a permanent mark there.
Like, yes, you have frontal lobe chlamydia.
Oh shit! You have force herpes. What the fuck is force herpes? It's herpes that's there but kind of not there at the same time. It's herpes that's like pretty much omnipotent herpes. I have ultimate herpes. Ultimate herpes?
Yeah,
Omnipotent herpes is pretty much ultimate herpes.
pretty much your brain's gonna itch and there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, every so often when you have a breakout, you're gonna get like blisters on your brain, and then your metachlorians are gonna be wigging out after for a little while there. But no, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's far worse than forced chlamydia. Forced chlamydia? No, forced chlamydia. Ooh, there's a very man. One
Forced
letter makes a
chlamydia.
difference. One letter makes such a large difference. The letter D makes a very big difference. You either have
Oh
Yo,
my
you could take that sentence so many different ways.
you either have forced chlamydia, which is 9 times out of 10 consensual, or you have forced chlamydia, which means Sith Lord forced his way into your mind and he wasn't very clean.
Sure, he
Okay,
forced his
so
way into your mind. Sure.
before we get canceled,
We play around with that line all the time. We play around with that cancel line so often, so damn often. Oh man, yo, this has been a great episode. We've had a lot of fun this episode. Triage, do you want to talk about next week?
uh, next week let's
Bane,
go over
say
Bane.
Bane, say Bane.
Bane.
Oh my God! Wow, Bane! I didn't see that coming at all. That was all right. Well, yeah, definitely, man. That's such a fucking surprise to me. Jesus! Wow, that blew my mind that we're gonna talk about Bane next. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I knew we were gonna talk about Bane next because I have high metachlorian count. I have a high metachlorian count. I was able to get premonitions of the future that we were going to talk about Bane, and I used the dark side to play around with Triage's mind to make him say Darth Bane.
That's where he's incorrect. Those mind tricks only work on the weak-minded.
There's other ways of using the Force. You don't necessarily have to. It's all about deceit. You don't have to use the Force to be deceitful. The Hannah showed that very well. She didn't necessarily need to use the Force to control Cal, to get the Separatists to do what they wanted. Yeah, here and there, but all she used was a bat of her pretty eyes and a sway of her little body and some vaginal secretion, and she got that man to do whatever he wanted, whatever she wanted.
Oh my god.
Fucking Muffet.
Oh my god.
That's it. That's what the book says. That is exactly what the book says. Or at least, or I have a very dirty mind, and I'm misinterpreting what they said. I'm pretty sure they said that she slept with that man. She slept with that Twi'lek. Before we end, I have a question for both of you.
Oh Lord.
And I've been asking this question around the job site.
Oh
And
no.
it's been an astonishing yes with zero hesitation. Are y'all ready for the question?
I guess so.
All right, Triage, I'll go with you first. All right, so this question is being proposed to both of you. Triage, I want your answer first. Alien, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alien baddie.
Oh my God.
Are you smashing?
Oh my god.
I have seen Species. I'm gonna leave it at that.
All right, zero consequences, no repercussions.
There are always consequences. Always. It's all fun and games till her vagina turns into a fly trap and bites my cock off.
Oh my god. That's scary.
I'm just saying, no consequences. She's a humanoid babe, and she's blue. He offers you intergalactic pussy. You taking it?
Only. Nah, never mind.
Nah, that's one thing about the show. Once you start saying something, you got to finish.
Nah, I'm good.
It's a jigsaw trap. Don't walk into it.
So, Triage, are you taking it? She offers you intergalactic pussy.
Nope. I'm
Zero
good.
repercussions.
There are always repercussions. And when she comes back 6 days later talking about she's pregnant, it's mine, and I've got a month before he's here. Nope, I'm good.
Nobody said don't wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody said don't wrap it up. You better put a force shield around that dick, bro. What the hell? You're fucking an alien. You better put a force dick around that.
Fucking fool. Fucking
I'm just
fool.
saying. Listen, she may be from another planet. Her skin may be blue, but she has the anatomy of a human woman. The internal anatomy of a human woman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You ever play Mass Effect?
I have not.
What color's her hair?
What the fuck does that matter? What the fuck does that matter?
Oh God, she's blue. She's blue. fat ass, blue skin with a fat ass.
He said, "What?"
What color would you like her hair to be?
If it's blonde, I'm not doing it.
All right, that's a that is a solid standpoint on that one. That is a very solid standpoint. I've had so many bad experiences with blonde humans. With blonde human women. I don't want to know what my experience is going to be with a blonde alien woman. Black hair. She has black. She's black haired, blue skin,
Nope.
badass.
I'm good.
Listen, I want to know what's going through your mind during the day when you're thinking about procreation with aliens.
Listen, all right. So last year, the government confirmed aliens are real. All right, right. In a failed attempt to distract us from the political bullshit that was going on at the time. Right now, if aliens are real, and they came down and said, "Hey, yo, we just trying to chill with y'all. We just trying to be accepted within y'all community." Um, here's a few of our women to kind of like bridge the gap.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. And yeah, and somewhere between here and there, all I'm hearing about is a group of pale faces bringing blankets to the indigenous.
Oh
Damn,
man, damn. That
damn.
got dark quick.
You go ahead and you bite that bullet if you want. All right. You want to get suckered in with some holes and some pleasure, and next thing you know, your dick falls off and you rot in from the inside out from radiation.
But that's what
Yeah,
I'm
you never
saying.
know, man. You never know. An alien disease could literally make your body do anything.
I'm just saying, but that's what I'm saying. No consequences. Everything
Nigga, there are
is
always consequences. Next thing you know, her saliva turns your penis into a vagina. Is that what you want? You want to wake up the next morning the opposite sex?
all right. Listen, we didn't
That's
have to
like
go
the
there.
worst
We
nightmare
we
right there.
we didn't have to go there. Why are we turning penises into vaginas now? All I ask is if you
What?
would
That's a
fuck some blue
line that was
pussy.
crossed? Sorry.
Oh, so that's where you draw the line? Not Mickey Mouse with the glove?
I apologize.
All I'm saying, if you were offered some some blue intergalactic vagina
No, nigga, no!
with zero
No!
consequences,
There are always
not
consequences.
trying to take over the world,
So if
like
I
they're not
told
trying to take
you,
over the
so if
world.
I told you could rob this Trusco and the police ain't gonna stop you, they'll hand the money over.
How much money are we talking?
Oh man.
Like I said,
Because
you're talking about here. Take our women, breed with them, become like us, and next thing you know, we're dying out from some fucking plague. Yeah, all right, nigga.
Yo,
You take that shit if you want.
I guarantee you, listen to my words very, very carefully, right? I guarantee I guarantee you we're gonna go to work and he's gonna tell us a story, right? About being abducted by aliens because they're listening to this conversation.
Like next thing I know, I was handcuffed to the bed and four Twilix came in.
hey,
And he's gonna tell us all
listen, you
about his
telling me you wouldn't smash
experiences.
a Twi'lek or Creduda or Togruta? You're telling me you wouldn't smash a Twi'lek or Creduta?
No, nigga.
Togruta.
I don't
You're
care if she was
telling me
built like Bianca
if
Belair.
Ahsoka was
No,
like, "Hey,
nigga.
yo, I want to throw this thing back on you." You're telling
No.
me Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka was like, I'm trying to throw it back. You're not grabbing her tendrils and going for it?
Maybe not her tendrils.
Listen, I am in that 2%. I am in the 2%, but I am not doing this shit.
Well, would you grab her tendrils?
I mean, if that was her kink and I was single,
Fucking fool.
I'm just saying, if a tweak was like, listen, William Shatner did it with no consequence, with no repercussions.
See, I would say a
Shatner
lot
for
right
years.
now, but I'm not gonna be that guy. So let's just move past this.
Why? Why are you not gonna be that guy? Why?
He wants to
What is it
stay
that you gotta
honest.
say?
It must be a fetish.
I'm not gonna say it because it's over the top. It's mad belligerent. I'm just gonna let it slide. And I don't appreciate the fact you're trying to bait me to say something crazy right now.
Listen, we done surpassed the last 30 minutes, bro. We done surpassed the last 30 minutes. Fuck it. Go out with a bang.
We all know why he'd have no consequences.
Why is that?
We know why he have no consequences. All right. Don't nothing ever happen in the fucking Trekkie universe like that.
That is also very true. That is also very true.
Yes,
Yeah, that is actually a good fucking point I never thought about. There is never any sexual intercourse consequences when it comes to the Trekkie universe. You can smash whatever color alien, whatever species of alien you want, and not come back with some intergalactic disease.
that you know of.
Yeah, that Captain Kirk knows of. That is also very true. He's sitting on the sitting on the seat at in command, talking about Starlog 2024. The other day, had
I dragged my balls across her face.
There's been and since then there's been some small but concerning red blotches appearing on my genitalia.
When asked if this is a contagious or troublesome matter, the doctor really said, "What do you want from me? I'm a doctor, not an alien genital specialist."
I'm giving it all she got, Captain.
Yeah, maybe if he gave her all he had, he wouldn't be in that situation.
The problem is he gave her all he had. That's why he's in that situation.
Maybe she's a parasitic alien.
Oh, you got to be careful with the parasitic aliens. You always got to be careful with them. You never know. They're sly, slick devils. They are those parasitic aliens.
Oh my god.
After stopping by a intergalactic brothel, I find myself with green.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Why isn't there any intergalactic brothels in Star Trek or Star Wars?
Why is I always saw the cantinas as kind of like the brothel, especially like the way they ran the cantinas. I always saw it as kind of a brothel kind of thing. They definitely could have had brothels. Yeah, definitely. Luke Skywalker, headed into Cloud City, hitting up a brothel ever so often, just to get his rocks off. I mean, I feel like that was a thing.
Like, watch this, baby. I can choke you with no hands.
Yeah, exactly. Doggy style, no hands. I ain't even got to grip your sides. I ain't even got to touch you.
Like, did you just make me climax from across the room? Yes. Watch me do it again.
Yes. This is the orgasm that you're looking for.
Oh my god.
Archie, come in here. Use that new attachment that I installed on you there. See
And then
see see what you think.
record this.
Record this for
Posterity.
future. Oh, one time I accidentally came across a how you say a Jedi Twi'lek parody one time
Mm-hmm.
along my crossings. It was quite fucking hysterical, actually. Quite hysterical.
I bet it
Listen,
was.
ladies and gentlemen, levels of seven. This show has gone on way longer than it was supposed to. Oh man! All
Really?
right, Triage. Any final words for the people? Triage. Any final words for the people?
I have no other words besides beware the mouse's glove.
Oh, oh boy.
Darth Legacy. Any final words for the people with your massive knowledge of the Star Wars universe?
Oh man. I'm never ever gonna look at Pooh Bear the same way again.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Hey, don't ask him about Kirby. Don't ask him about Kirby. Please don't ask him about Kirby.
On that note, good night, folks.
My final words to the people is uh whatever it is that you believe in, whatever religion, whatever being that you believe in, keep faith, keep your hope, because there's always light at the end of the tunnel. There can never be darkness without light. So anytime you feel like the dark side is testing you, just remember the light side's on the other side. Um
Absolutely.
Also remember that peace is a lie. There's only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. And through power, I gain victory. And through victory, my chains are broken. And at all times, remember, fuck prep time.
Fuck prep time.
That has been the super breakdown for this week. Tune in next week when we'll be diving into Darth Bane. That is going. I truly feel that's going to be a long, a very long episode there. Darth Legacy. Are you interested in joining us for that episode if
Sure,
you're available?
absolutely. If I'm available, I would
All
love
right.
to.
All right, awesome. I can see. I'm going to see if we can get someone else into the show as well. Get this a four-way conversation. Um, and yes, Jesus, this has been a fucking episode. Um, with that being said, that has been a super breakdown. Tune in next week. We're talking about Darth Bane. Darth Legacy will be joining us again. We'll definitely see if we can get some more special guests onto the show for the month of May the Force be with you. That's all, folks.